So, welcome everyone. We're doing Facebook Live. We're doing an autograph session right now with Gracie Trotter and Brooke Store. So, if you're at the PRI show in Indianapolis, make sure you come by and get a hat, get an autograph. Come right on up while we're talking. We're going to do this Facebook Live and interview these girls a little bit, and then they're going to be here, excuse me, for a few minutes signing autographs. So, just as I always say, I met these gals on Facebook. They're the age that, you know, social media is where it's at. That's how they meet their friends and how we stay in touch with their racing and what they're doing. So we're going to start, and I'm just going to ask you guys can look at the camera because you're a lot prettier looking at the camera. So we're going to start with this racing. Why don't you tell the people how you got started in racing and what you've raced and a little bit about your racing.
So I'm a third generation race car driver. I grew up going to the racetrack with my dad. He used to own a race team. And so I did that every weekend. And when I was about 8 years old, my dad bought me a go-kart and we would go-kart racing. He didn't really want me to do it because of how hard and expensive it was. But we went go-kart racing, did that for about 5 years. And then we moved over to the oval world, started racing bandoleros at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And then after that, we bought a legend car, raced that. My last time in a legend car was this year at the summer shootout, and then I've been racing super late models for about 2 years, and this year we moved up to late model stock.
So it seems like a long time, but how old are you now?
I'm 18.
She's 18 years old, and she's raced all those different types of cars, so that's crazy when you think about it, because most kids are still just in high school and just doing all that stuff, and you're out at the racetrack, right? Really building a career is what you're doing, right? So Brooke, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you get started in racing?
Yeah, mine's pretty much the same story. My family got me into racing. My dad raced, and we did the whole ladder system. We started out in go-karts, moved up to mod minis, pro trucks, super late models, and then this past year we went into the rev racing late model stock and the sports car that I'm also currently racing in Florida.
So you girls live in Charlotte area, Mooresville, right? And you're part of the Rev Racing, both of you, correct? All right. And so why don't you tell them a little bit about what is Rev Racing and how do you get to be a part of it?
Yeah, so Rev Racing, they have a combine each year around the October time. You sign up online, and then 12 drivers get picked to go to the combine. And out of those 12 drivers, only 6 get picked to come race. They have 4 late models and 2 P&A cars, which will be the ARCA cars next year. But it's a 2-day combine. We do workouts on the first day. We do a lot of media stuff, interviews, and then the second day we go to New Smyrna Speedway and we get evaluated there with our race car skills.
And then, like, where do you race as part of Rev Racing? Where do you go to race?
This past season we raced a lot in Myrtle Beach, a couple times at Hickory, South Boston, Southern National, Langley, and a lot of really cool places around Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina area.
And so how many women, like when you go to the track and you're in a race, about how many women are you racing against?
There's not too many women that we race against. Most of the time it's just me and Brooke racing at the track, but we'll get a couple other ones in the class, but not too many.
Not too many. So are you, I know you guys are friends, but are you also rivals when you get on the track?
Yeah, we've ran into each other a couple times.
You ran into each other a couple. I figured as much, but you know it's not personal, right? It's really not personal. No, I mean it happens, you know.
One time it was because I lost brakes and I kind of
She just used me to
went under.
Yeah, well, you know, you're gonna lean on your friends, right? So that's how that goes. So what's your favorite thing about being a race car driver?
My favorite thing about being a race car driver is just driving, just the adrenaline you get at the track, being at the track, racing the race car. I mean, there's nothing better than that, honestly.
You like the speed? Is that part of it?
Yeah, the speed's nice.
The competitiveness of it, I mean, I've always been really competitive since I was little with basketball, softball, volleyball, everything. So racing just brings that to a whole new level.
It does. And so when you get in your regular car to go home after you've been at the racetrack, do you tend to want to go faster than you should?
I don't. I'm a slow driver.
Are you? What about you?
I'm not.
You're not?
She knows I have road rage.
You have road rage?
Yeah.
So whatever happened on the track, you get in your car and then oh dear, that's not good. That's good. So what are your long-term goals and plans?
My long-term goals is, just like any other race car driver, trying making stories, make it up to the top series of NASCAR. And with the whole Rev Racing program and with the Toyota Racing Development program, that's a big step for me being in those. And hopefully that's one thing that can help me make it.
And how about you, Brooke?
Yeah, just climb the ladder and make it to the Cup Series of NASCAR. And next year we're going to be doing a lot more stuff with the ARCA and Truck Series. So really looking forward to that and following years, trying to move up into the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, that's the goal because you want to be up there showing those guys what you can do. So what about family? Do you have brothers, sisters, dogs, cats?
Yeah, I have a lot of them. So I have one little brother and then I also have 4 step-siblings. So they're kind of all over the place. Only get to see them a couple times a year, but I also have a dog, a really crazy dog, and so does she. My brother has a pet bird. We also have a lot of cats too. So we used to have 2 guinea pigs and 2 lizards.
Okay, how about you?
Yeah, I got a little brother. He used to be a great racer, and he just decided not to pursue it. And he's one of my biggest supporters. And then, we both got crazy dogs that love being at mine, likes being at the racetrack. So.
Yeah. So where are you originally from?
I'm from Denver, North Carolina, so it's on the other side of Lake Florida.
Okay, and how about you, Brooke?
Originally from Florida.
Yeah, because you go to Florida a lot. You're traveling back and forth.
Yep, I think I made the trip this year 23 times.
I believe it.
From Florida to
Yeah. Yeah, I saw you race last year. Yeah, but we didn't get to connect in person. But I got to see you. Yeah. So these gals are doing autograph sessions at our booth number 7199. We're out in the hallway, right across from the Pit Stop Cafe, so you can't miss it. So you can have lunch, come out, sit in the hallway, and listen to the girls and meet them, get some autographs, and get some hats. Wow, free hats, so that's cool. Any last words or anything you want to share before we say goodbye?
Just thank you for having us.
Yeah. Love having you guys here. So thanks for coming by and stop and see us. And I just have to say that's usually my lucky day. So we're going to have a great day. It's PRI day number 2. And we're going to have a full day of autographs and Facebook Lives from our booth today with amazing women. And we're going to start the day off right. Anna Kuba is here with us, and she is going to tell us a little bit about herself, how she got started in racing, and then she'll be here to sign autographs. She's got some really cool cards to sign for you. So if you're at PRI, we want you to stop by and get an autograph and talk to Anna. So Anna, tell us first, where are you from and how did you get started in racing?
Yeah, I'm from Minnesota, so I race out of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, kind of in the Midwest. My family's been in racing for 82 years now, so it started with my grandpa in Colorado. And kind of was just transitioned into third generations and actually now 4th. So
That's very cool, and that's a pretty typical story. Not maybe 4 generations, but it's pretty typical that somebody in your family raced to get you interested.
Yep.
So tell us, what do you race, and what did you start racing in, and what do you race now?
Yeah, so I started go-karting, when I was 7 or 8 was the first time I got in it. And then right from there, I jumped right into a 360 wing sprint car, so it's quite a bit of difference. So I race primarily now non-wing up in the Minnesota area. So.
And you travel the Midwest.
Yep.
So do you go to Knoxville?
I haven't raced Knoxville yet, but I've been a couple times crewing, but it's a dream.
That's a dream, yeah. Love to see you race at Knoxville, so that would be
yeah.
So, do you want to share who your marketing partners are? Get that started so that we give them some press.
Yeah, absolutely. King Solutions, they're a 3PL logistics company out of Dayton, Minnesota. FVP, Factory Motor Parts, Rice Creek Building Remodeling, NASA Brothers Trailer Service, K1 Race Gear, also Reactor Racing, and a couple other smaller marketing partners, Bell, Helmets, Kaiser Wheels, Gillen Enterprises, Justice Brothers. They've been with us for 30 years.
Oh yeah. So that's what it takes, and that's one of the things that what PRI is so good for. Is the relationships you can start and the ones that you can continue to build.
Oh yeah, we can't do it without them. They get us on the track, and without them, we wouldn't be racing.
Yeah, that's so true. And we just can't thank those people enough, really, can we?
No.
It's hard to get sponsors, but once you get them and you provide what they need from you and they provide, it's a partnership that can last for 30 years, right?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So what's your favorite thing about racing?
I think my favorite thing about racing is just the competitiveness. When you're in a car, it's just you in the car, so nothing else can touch you. And there's just not a feeling like it. I mean, when you're in there and you're strapped in, that's kind of my favorite place in the world to be.
So when you were little and you were racing and then you started racing faster cars,
Yeah.
how was your mom about that?
She still can't watch. If you ever see her at the track, she's usually underneath the stands, peeking out. I actually remember a time there was a wreck, and I was racing a red car at the time, and it was another red car, and they're like, yeah, it's the girl she flipped. My mom started running and actually hit some sort of, I don't know, I think a hit. She got this huge bruise because she didn't know. She got out there, she's like, oh, it's not her. So she walks back under. She's funny. She's been that way because my brother races too. So and my dad raced for 30 plus years, and she's always been that way with anyone. So it's pretty funny.
Usually it is the mom that's underneath the stands, and it's usually the dad that's out on the starting line.
Yeah.
No matter girl or boy. That's usually how it works.
Yeah, he's usually the first one. Whenever I wreck, he's the first one there somehow. He can't run very fast, but somehow he gets there first.
My granddaughter races. She's 16, and my son-in-law is a big guy, and when she had a bad wreck, I don't know. I said, Pop, I've never seen you run so fast.
Yeah.
I had no idea how he got to it.
Oh yeah.
It's lightning fast speed if that's your kid out on the track for sure. Yeah. Yeah. So if you're a girl in a man's sport, we all know that. And so what's the thing that you think is your most challenging, and then what's the most rewarding?
I think for me, it's the fact that I want to be treated like everyone else out there. So for a while, they're like, you need to have a big car, you need to be doing all that. And it's like, nope, I want to be treated the same because when I'm out there, I want to be the same competitor. So for me, that was probably the biggest challenge, and just the fact that I think when you do pass people, they race a little bit harder, but it's that much more rewarding when you do win and when you do pass them. So it's a little bit of both. And probably the biggest rewarding thing too for me is just getting other females and other girls when they're there at the track, getting them in the cars and showing them that you can do this, and it's possible to compete against all the other males and everyone else.
So what would be a piece of advice you would give either a mom or a young gal that wants to get started in racing? What would you say to them?
I would say, it's possible, and you can be just as competitive as any of the males out there. And don't get discouraged. Keep going, keep fighting. There's going to be ups and downs, and you're going to kind of get down on yourself about it. But you got to just keep fighting and keep going, no matter what.
Yeah, good advice. Don't let anybody squash your dreams.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. For sure. So, what are your goals for racing here on out?
Obviously, I'd like to continue building what we already have. We have a great program. I'd love to keep expanding that into 410, hopefully. Maybe run with some of the USAC. Just keep going. I mean, obviously, racing some of those bigger races like the Chili Bowl, Knoxville. Those are huge dreams. Would I like to keep growing and eventually make it on asphalt? Maybe, for sure. But just gotta take it 1 year at a time.
Yeah, that's a good plan.
Yeah.
You've got to have those dreams, but you also got to be realistic that you don't go from the bottom to the top.
Right.
You have to make those steps.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So we're going to do some autographs here shortly, but is there anything else that you'd like to share with the people that are watching?
I just want to thank all the fans. I want to thank this group. All of us here, we're all kind of reaching for the same goal. And without the fans and you guys supporting us, we wouldn't be here either. You guys make this happen. So thank you for all your support, for both me and these organizations. It's truly very appreciated. So thank you.
Well, last thing, where can people follow you? On social media, or how do they?
Yeah, so I have a Facebook page, Anna Cougar Racing, and then my Instagram page is also Anna Cougar Racing. So you can follow me on either of those. I'd be happy to message or any of those social media platforms.
And your last name is spelled Kouba.
Yep.
If you're trying to find her. So thanks for being here. We're going to do some autographs here with some other gals too. And follow Anna, and if she's racing near you, go cheer her on. Go Go say, hey, I saw you on Facebook Live with the IWMA. I'm here to cheer you on. How's that?
Yeah, thank
All
you.
right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
So, good morning, everyone. This is my friend Leah Howie. Leah is, as you can see, she looks a little nervous. She thinks I'm going to ask her something she's not going to know the answer to, which is not going to happen. But Leah's a race car driver, and she sure doesn't look it, does she? She's young, she's cute, she's not a very big girl. How does somebody like that become a race car driver? So, Leah, what got you interested in motorsports?
Well, one, my grandpa started it and kind of got the whole family into it with him driving and then my grandma driving. And I used to work on the car, like washing it every time he would come home. Then my grandma got into it, and I really, really wanted to do it because I thought if she could do it, I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it all started, basically.
And how long ago was that?
Oh, years ago.
Years ago. And how old are you right now?
14.
14. So when you were maybe 6, we're going to guess, or somewhere in that neighborhood. So she's been a part of a racing family, obviously, as so many other young girls have, and that's how they get the bug for racing. So you've been racing. Is this going to be your second full-time year or third full-time year?
Third full-time.
Third full-time year. And so tell us about your car. What do you race? Where do you race? That kind of thing.
Well, I race with the Midwest Compact Touring Series, so it's basically all over. But we have a new car. It's a Honda. I don't remember what kind of car it is.
It's a Honda. It's a front-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically we race everywhere. And
Yeah.
yeah.
And how many girls typically are in the compact series?
Well, it was me,
And Kelly.
Kelly, and Faith. But Faith moved up, and I don't think Kelly's doing full-time this year.
Right. So we need some gals to get started with the Midwest Compact Touring Series, which you can find them on Facebook. It's a great series. A couple buddies of mine run that series, so we'll give them some shout out to get some gals in that series. But even if not, Leah's going to be there. Tell us about your season last year. Did you have any successes, and how did your season end?
Well, at first it was kind of iffy because we went to Sandusky and didn't really know much about the car because it was a brand new car and had trouble with the slap shift. But then we started to get used to it, changing tire pressure, doing everything like that, stagger, stuff like that, and then it got better. With the season, I got 2 heat wins, one at Owasso and then one at New Paris. And
Were those your first heat wins?
no, I have another one at M40.
Okay.
But
All right. And how did you finish the season?
I think second rookie north, first rookie east. I think it was 5th in east points. I think it was like 11th or 12th in national points, and then 3rd in the northern points.
So you had a lot of success last year, really. One of it was consistency. I know you raced pretty much every race that you could. I don't know that you even missed any. And so, some rookie honors. She won some heat races. The year prior to that was not quite as successful, but you were learning. It was the first time you were driving. It feels like you're going so fast when you're out there on the racetrack until you see all the cars pass you, right? And then you're like,
Back at the videos, it's just like, man, I was going slow.
right, but it feels fast when you're out there. So you've learned a lot between your first year and this last year. A lot of it, too, like being able to do an interview, that's all part of being a race car driver, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
To promote yourself and get yourself out there and try to get sponsors and just like meet new people and know who the people are at the track and give them recognition for the staff and photographers and all that.
Yeah, exactly right. So do you have any marketing partners?
I have R&E Painting and then Wild Boys Racing, Johnson Farms, J.R. Long, and then we have a little like miscellaneous kind of stuff, like people that will help us out with oil and everything
Right.
like that. And then people that will sponsor tires and stuff, but we are looking for more sponsors this year to
Yeah.
help out with everything like that.
Because you're traveling, and that's not cheap as well. Even though some of the races aren't very far, it still costs you money to go. And so Leah would be a great young woman to become a partner with. Where do you live, Leah?
Elkhart, Indiana.
So Elkhart, Indiana. So if you're down in that area, check out Leah Howie. She's a great little race car driver. She's improved so much in just 1 year. I can't wait to see what she's going to do this year. She's going to blow some of those boys away in the Midwest Compact Touring Series. I know that for sure. And, she's not picky. She'll take a little bit of money. She'll take whatever you can offer to help her advance her career in racing. So, Leah, any last thoughts that you want to share on the video?
Go like my Facebook page at Howie Racing, and we do have a poll out there right now for best looking car, and I made it to round, I think it's 3 or round 4 maybe.
Okay.
But that's all.
All right, very good. Well, thanks for being here. We're at PRI. We're on the tail end of these last 3 days. Leah can attest. It's a lot of walking, it's a lot of standing, and it's a lot of talking, right? But it's been a fun time. So check Leah out at Howie Racing or Leah Howie Racing. Howie Racing, and follow her. And if you're in the Elkhart, Indiana area, I encourage you to reach out to her or her grandpa and help this young woman continue her race career. So thank you, Leah. Have a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you in 2020. So it's hour 2 of the autograph session at the International Women's Motorsports Association booth. And I have 2 beautiful blondes right here that are going to be doing autographs right now. So Tori Knudsen, Brittany Zamora are here, and we're going to hear their story, and then you guys can stop by if you're at PRI and get autographs from these guys. And so we're just going to start. So Tori, we're going to start with you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about where you're from and how you got started in racing?
I'm from Monticello, Minnesota, so this weather here in Indiana is tropical for us right now. I got started racing in go-karts when I was 4 years old, but I had been going to the track ever since I was 6 months old to watch my dad race modifieds. I started in go-karts, and then I moved my way up to the full-size sprint car through the mini sprint, the micro sprint, and then I started in the 305 sprint car, the 360, and now we're racing with the 410 guys.
Awesome. And then Brittany, tell us about what you do, where you're from, and what kind of racing do you do? How'd you get started?
Yeah, so I also started when I was 4 years old in go-karts. I grew up watching my dad at the racetrack at Tri-City Raceway doing the Northwest Tours and Super Late Models. I started in go-karts and moved my way up to mini stocks, got into late models and then super late models, and this past season I was in the NASCAR Cannon West Pro Series.
Exactly. So I've been watching both of these girls for a little while and kind of following their career. They didn't know I was stalking them, but, in a good way I was. So, Brittany, tell me what's your favorite thing about driving a race car?
Oh, I feel like for me, it comes natural. I love it. I feel like when I'm at home, when I'm strapped in the car, on the racetrack, and it gives you an adrenaline rush that nothing else gives me. It's a thrill.
That's true. Tori, what about you?
I definitely agree with everything Brittany said. I love the challenge of it all, and I love that that you're on your own, and you don't really, at least in the sprint car, we don't really have anybody talking in our ears, so it's kind of decisions on the fly and just hoping that it works out. And everything just combined together is a huge challenge, which can be really frustrating at times, but it's also a lot of fun, and there's a lot of satisfaction when things go right.
Yeah, because you know that you haven't had somebody telling you what to do, right?
Yeah.
Same thing when things go wrong, I'm sure, but but it's that's a good thing. That's a good thing to learn, that independence.
Yeah.
It carries over to a lot of other parts of your life, I'm sure.
It really does.
Yeah, for sure. So, Brittany, tell us a little bit about where do you race?
Yeah, so I'm from the West Coast, and so I primarily race in Washington, Oregon, Idaho, California. There's a ton of tracks out there. I do only asphalt. I did one dirt race this year in the Canyon Series, but I primarily do asphalt. And this year I was lucky enough to get the chance to travel all over the country. I got to go to Bristol and Phoenix, and there's just New Hampshire. There's a ton of new tracks that were new to me and that were fun to get on, those mile tracks and make my way up through the race.
Yeah, good experience, isn't it, to do that? Absolutely. And Tori, how about you?
So I race mostly in the Midwest around Minnesota. We go to Grand Forks, Fargo, Knoxville, Iowa, a lot into Wisconsin, and there's only only one track in Minnesota that we actually get to go to in Jackson. And next year we'll be racing at Knoxville Raceway full time in Iowa, so that'll be really fun. And then we'll still do a couple of like the World of Outlaw and All-Star specials at like Cedar Lake Speedway in Iowa and Grand Forks and Fargo as well.
So are you going to be moving to Iowa then?
If it was up to me, I would love to, but my whole team is pretty much my whole family, and they're in Minnesota with my race car as well. So it's going to be a lot of traveling. But Knoxville's my favorite place in the world, so I would not be against moving there.
No, I know some people that live there, and so I'm thinking. Plus, it's quite a bit warmer than what you're used to, even just going to Iowa. You know.
Yeah, it is. I was just telling Brittany we get to start racing in April versus like June in Minnesota.
Right.
So that's really nice too.
Yeah, it is. It's a longer season for sure. So if you had a mom or a little girl come up to you and say, you know, my little girl wants to start racing, what would be some advice, Brittany?
Oh man, that's tough. It kind of just depends on like the support you have behind. Like with me, I had my family supporting me since day one, and so we're a girl. We're out here to help pave a pathway for females in the motorsports. But I also believe that I don't let it hold me back, and so I go out there and I'm kind of like one of the guys, or I'm racing with. I want to be racing with the best of the best, and so that's why I'm out here doing what I'm doing. And I don't play in the factor of me being a girl because it really doesn't affect my performance on track. And we're all racers, so we all go out there and we want the same goal. That's winning.
Right, that's for sure. Tori?
Exactly what Brittany said as well. It's kind of just not taking no as an answer and just making what you have to make work, and just doing it, finding a way. That's really what it comes down to, is how determined you are to do something. And same goes for whether you're a little boy or a little girl, is just never quitting, never giving up, and never settling too is a huge one.
Yeah, never settling. That's a good piece of advice right there for sure. So let's get real. How many times have you had trouble with men or boys on the racetrack or off the racetrack, as far as like, you know, how do they feel when they get beat, or do they try to wreck you when you're out there, or just so, Tori, start with you.
I've definitely had more problems when I was younger. I think the women in the whole racing industry as a whole, it's become a lot more common, and I feel like we don't stick out necessarily as much as how it was when I was younger, like 10 years ago when I first got into a sprint car. But the amount of grown men that I've seen throw temper tantrums because a 16-year-old girl does better than them is quite a few of them.
Yeah.
But I think that also comes with racing. It can be a very emotional sport because there's so much passion and, like I said, determination. So I've seen a lot of that from all groups of people. Sometimes it's a struggle to be taken seriously. A lot of people, I get a lot of comments saying, you don't look like the racing type, you look like the Barbie type. And it's just kind of making it known that because I love makeup, I love shopping and getting my nails done, but I also love wrenching on a car and going fast and being competitive too. And it's just being open-minded enough that you can do both.
Right, absolutely. How about you, Brittany?
Yeah, so when I grew up doing go-karts, there's actually a few of us, and so it's normalized, they don't think twice about it. We go out there and we compete, and it was like the guys enjoyed racing with us as much as they enjoyed racing with the guys. Actually, my first year in stock cars was probably my worst experience. I was 14 years old. I went out, won Rookie of the Year, the championship. I had the wins, had the track records, and that was the first time I really experienced these grown men kind of getting that frustration. And they've spent years and years and years in these cars, and then we kind of come in and we're doing the same, if not better, as them. So that was kind of the first time I had that experience of the whole guy versus girl deal. But luckily, getting into the Super Late models and getting into the NASCAR world, it's all accepted now. And so we're just another racer, and we go out there and do our job.
Yeah, because you've had quite a bit of success. I know I followed you, and I always wondered, Yeah, you come in and you kind of sweep the field, and they're like, "Who the is this girl?" You know. But that's just part of it. You know, they need to suck it up and do whatever they need to do to try to beat you. So that's the way it goes. So, any last words for the Facebook Live, and then we're going to be doing some autographs here. So, Tori, anything else you'd like to share? How can people follow you to follow your racing?
Yeah, so it's Tornado Tori Racing on Facebook, and then Tornado, just at Tornado Tori 14 on Twitter and Instagram. I'm very active on social media, so if you have any questions or want to contact me in any way, you can send me a direct message, and I respond as soon as I can to everybody.
Okay, awesome. Brittany?
Yeah, so I'm on, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff, and it's Brittany's More or Brittany's More Racing. And same as well, I try to be super active on it, keep the sponsors out there, let everybody kind of know what my plans are, how I'm running and stuff like that. So there's constant updates on there. And also, if you guys aren't doing anything, or if you're here at the PRI show, come on out and say hi.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks, ladies, for being here with us. We're going to, like I said, autographs are coming up next, and then I'm sure you'll be around the rest of today and probably tomorrow. So if anybody sees you walking around, they can stop and say hi, and good luck. All right. Thanks, girls. So it's 11 o'clock. We're still at PRI. Today's our big autograph day. And these are two of my very favorite people. Not that they aren't all favorites. I love all the women. But these are two of my favorites. So we got Jeanette with Car Chicks. We've got Georgina. She's a drag racer. So there's her card. There's Jeanette. So I met Jeanette in person a couple of years ago. I was here for PRI. I had just started the IWMA. I didn't even have business cards yet. I went to a seminar, and a lady I talked to said, "Hey, you need to meet Jeanette. She runs Car Chicks. I think you girls would have a lot in common," etc. Girl, she's a girl. I'm an old lady. Anyway, so we did just briefly meet. I really didn't know anything about Jeanette or Car Chicks at the time. But I did my research, and I found out that she's just as passionate about women in racing as I am. And she had a head start on me, but that's okay. We've been at several events now together, and we've gotten to be what I call, I think, good friends. We help each other. We share each other's information through social media, because I want her to grow. I want her to have big events and women to get opportunities through what she's doing. She does the same for me. So it's a partnership, right?
Absolutely. And women supporting other women, and just supporting each other in general. This stuff is not easy. And so you meet some great people along the way that you can actually share this passion with and make this journey work together. It's going to be that much easier. And in my, in my eyes, I mean, we're not competitors. We have the same mission, and we're both trying to accomplish the same thing and the same goals. And if we can impact more people by working together collectively, then ultimately that's the mission anyway. So
yeah, absolutely.
So it's an honor to have met you, and I think that I'm a better person, and Car Chicks is a better organization for it. So.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I just the help and the connections has really helped me a lot. So that's been great. And Georgina, met her. We've had her on our podcast, and we went and watched her race last year. She and Leah Oakes. Leah's going to be here later. Did a what did you call it? It was called
Car Chicks Grudge Match.
Right, Car Chicks Grudge Match at the NHRA National Event at Route 66 Joliet last summer.
Woo! Yeah, so that was cool, because now let's tell them why was that such a cool event? Because it had not been done before.
It's never been done before. So Car Chicks, we are celebrating year 10. We've been celebrating and promoting women in motorsports and automotive industry for 10 years. So to be contacted for the NHRA to even know who you are,
right,
in my book was like it was huge. I'm like, this is who? I'm like, this is a prank.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever, Bobby, but no, so for them to even recognize us as an organization was pretty amazing. And then to have the special invite to race on like the biggest stage that you could ever get to in drag racing. I mean, I don't think there's anything much bigger than a national event.
No, there isn't anything much bigger than a national event. And I've raced at Joliet before. I've always said coming out from underneath the tower is an amazing thing. But when you add that you're pulling out right behind John Bush, Crew, Coughlin. I mean, that even was more amazing. To be in the staging lanes with them, with your car, I mean, come on, hello. It was phenomenal. I mean, words can't even express it. And then for me, honestly, I mean, being there was awesome, but the best part was my Bob Tasca interaction. They were pushing me up to the staging lanes. I hear some guy talking to my husband on the golf cart, and I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Guy's like, great car, great car. My husband's like, don't tell me, go tell her. Guy comes up on a little moped, and he's got a New England accent. He's like, hey, I want to tell you, I love your car. It's a beautiful car. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Holy mother of God. It was Bob Tasca. I mean, come on. He's Mr. Ford himself, right?
I'm surprised you could even drive after that, you know?
Well, we had a little downtime in the staging lane, so it allowed me to, like,
breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it something that like, you and Leah are going to remember for the rest of it? You, Leah, the husbands, the crew, the family, all the people that shared and liked and supported the whole event page about what was happening at the NHRA Nationals. I mean, everyone's going to remember that forever.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Forever. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
It was great.
It was awesome.
And did you win?
I did win.
Yeah. We're not going to ask Leah that question. Okay.
Well, I mean, it's okay if you do.
It's okay.
Yeah. I mean, hey, that's part of racing. Things happen.
Yeah.
There was, from what I understand, she had a issue like boosting up her car. It's a turbo car, so that's part of racing. Those kinds of things happen. There could be little electrical misfunctions or whatnot. But I tell you what, so we get down to so she's already went to the finish line. I jump in the truck with the NHRA and Route 66 crew. We get down there, and I was like, well, what is this, guys? I'm like, this isn't how they do it on TV. And I was like, where's the mellow yellow? We're like, yeah, we're shaking it all up, we're throwing it up.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
It was not awesome. I mean, it was awesome, right? It was awesome.
I thought it was
you always
awesome.
see it on TV.
Yeah.
The after was not awesome because I had mellow yellow cake in my hair.
Oh.
And anybody who knows, if you're staying in an RV,
that's not a good thing.
It's not a good thing. Joliet has a pond. I was tempted to go jump in the pond.
You did not.
I did not. I wanted to. But not only was I coated, my golf cart was coated, my car got coated. You missed all that. But it was still, was it worth it? Yeah.
Yeah, once in a lifetime opportunity. Yeah. So we're very incredibly thankful for that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so, are we doing that again?
What's interesting is that I cannot confirm nor deny. But at this point, I do have some meetings scheduled within the next week after PRI to talk about possibilities in 2020 and moving forward. So stay tuned.
Good.
Yeah, and I absolutely want to do a rematch with Leah because while I did win, it wasn't the way I wanted to win. And I mean, when you guys got up there, I was almost in tears. I'm like, did I screw her up? I mean, I knew she got timed out, and I was worried about it. And I did ask NHRA if we could rerun, and it's time.
Yeah, so. And what happens, like, when she was she was having issues boosting her turbo, and I'll let her tell the story, but I think what happened is that when she was having issues boosting her turbo, I think there's a 7-second
there is. Once you get in the first, competitors get in the first beam. Yeah. I was in the second beam. She's got 6 seconds to pump in. Unfortunately, she wasn't able, and I could hear her trying.
Right.
And had this been anything but an NHRA event, I probably would have backed out of the beams so they could figure it out. But I know the way NHRA works, right? Yeah. NHRA, if I would have backed out, I would have been disqualified. She would have gotten one.
Right.
It was an awesome time, no matter what. It was like the coolest week of my life.
Yeah.
Cool.
It was cool to be there and see you guys and watch it and just feel like you were a part of it just because you kind of knew about it. And
right. And thank you for coming out and supporting. I remember, so when this all started happening, it was only announced like a couple weeks before the actual event, but this has been a work in progress for several months, and it was part of a larger picture of things. And sometimes we can't get every part of the wheel moving at the same time when it needs to be moving to make things like this happen. But I remember reaching out to you. You're one of the first people I reached out to. I'm like, look, I can't tell you what's happening, but something is happening. Just be ready for it. I'm going to let you know, And so, again, that teamwork aspect. And
we had you on the podcast, and you told about it and released about what was happening. And we shared because that's what we do. We help each other. So
you know, and a lot of people, they want to know, like, how they can help different organizations, like, you know, Car Chicks, International Women in Motorsports Association, you know, your friend's race team, and you don't have any money or anything like that. The liking and sharing of social media posts goes so
It does.
far. And, I mean, especially nowadays with the algorithm, especially Facebook. Apparently Facebook's for old people. That was the...
Well, hello. I guess I'm there.
No, that's where I met Melinda. No,
Yep.
but the liking and the sharing of posts, tagging people, and like, you know, helping. That's how people grow, and we can build brand awareness, and we can help each other. Because if you share on your page, you don't know if there's someone that you're friends with that can benefit from knowing one of us.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you're watching this,
share from there.
yeah, if you're watching, you should like me sharing it right now.
Yeah.
So, and we can tell when you do it too. Just
Right. We can tell. No. So we're gonna, Georgina, why don't you tell me a little bit about your story, like how long you've been racing and what's your favorite part about it?
So I have been racing. I've actually been driving for 10 years. Been doing this for over 20 years, like 25, 26 years with my husband. I took over driving in 2009 and never looked back. There's so many facets about it that I love, that it all comes together, works together. I love sitting in the car, I love being in the car, I love driving the car. But I also love being able to spend that time with my husband, because we do it together as a team. We may not always agree, but we're spending that time together.
say it isn't so.
Say it isn't so. And then the other thing is, then, you know, it's the people you get to meet while you're doing it, the people you get to hang out with, the people who come out to support you, and your fellow racers. It makes the whole picture.
Yeah, it totally does. And at the end of the day, win, lose, or draw, it's about the people, isn't
Exactly.
it? Yeah,
Exactly.
I totally agree.
I mean, our goal is to go out. We want to do the best we can, but we're there to have a good time.
Right.
And the minute we're not having a good time, we know we're done.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, for sure. So, Jeanette, Car Chicks, 10 years.
10, yes.
You
10
you
years.
started when you were 8.
No, yeah, I wish. I'm actually I like to say that I'm in my early 30s, and I guess that the early, mid, and late is a very relative term.
It is.
To some people, and I say, like, if you're mid, you're, 35, that's it, that's mid. Maybe like 36, 37, I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when I
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
about, 10 years ago, early 20s, I was in college, and Car Chicks just started off as a website I work at Great Lakes Dragway, and like that's in Wisconsin, right? It gets cold in Wisconsin. You're in Michigan, same thing. I'm just outside Chicago now, and so Car Chicks was actually started as like a forum website for me and a couple of local gals to keep in touch with each other over this horrible thing that we call winter, which is like life.
It is.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
And share some pictures of our builds and cars and things like that. And within the first couple of days, the website crashed because there's so much traffic going to it. So they ended up having to relaunch the website, version 2.0. It was still a forum at this time, but women from all over the world started going on this forum and commenting and sharing their stories. And honestly, like in the beginning, our demographics, it was only 25% women and 75% men. So a lot of the guys were there on board supporting us from day one. And I think that's when we started to see this big transition with women in motorsports, and it was on this huge rise. And so I think we got in, early because I remember trying to find stuff to write about, and we'd have to go back into like the archives, because one of the first articles I wrote was about Erica Enders, and the picture I used for her in this article, she looks like she's like 13 years old or something, but it was an up and coming thing. There was not a lot of information out there. And fast forward 10 years now later, I mean, the things that women have achieved and still are achieving is amazing. The different organizations, like my organization, your organization, the different clubs and things are out there. There's so many resources now. So when people ask, did you guys make an impact? Absolutely.
Right.
I think that we also contributed to this huge movement that's happening, and that's still here today. And so now I think we need to start having a conversation like, okay, now that we're here, now what are we going to do?
Right.
What are the next steps? And so I think that these are conversations we need to start having.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. Car Chicks was one of the first organizations I found when I started this, and it was like, okay, I didn't know really what you did. I researched you and to see more about you, and I was like, okay, we can partner together. And I felt that right away. But you don't always know how the other person's going to feel.
Right.
You know, I was thinking, oh, maybe she'll think this is a competition.
Right.
Where really it's not. I cover every kind of motorsport, and you really cover most, you know, you do cover, but the drag racing is just, I've learned so much from you about
I love drag racing.
the women and that, and so I've really learned a lot about that from you, so that's been really cool. Yeah.
Thank you. And you know, and let's talk about that competitor thing at first. And so I've always, every now and then someone will ask me, well, don't you think that this like not necessarily your organization, or maybe like with one of my, like another company I own, you know, aren't you worried about your competitors? Absolutely. No, I'm not. I think, in my opinion, there's plenty of fish in the sea. Doesn't mean that I'm not hungry. I tell you that I'm going to go out there and you know, make it happen. And as a business owner, that's what you have to do.
Right.
But at the same time, I mean, I'm not going to be worried about my competitors. I'm just going to worry about what my next goal is and where we're going.
Yeah. If you spend time worrying about them, then you're not focused on your business.
No, and I don't have time for that.
I don't either.
There you go.
No. I just know that if I share something, or if I put something out, she's probably going to be one of the first ones that shares it.
Yeah. Right.
And I do the same for her. It's like, it's a no-brainer. You just do it, you know?
And as long as I see, so I get people ask, how come, like I just found out my cousin's 7.5 months pregnant, and she's like, how come you didn't know this? You didn't see it on Facebook? I'm like, man, I have 5,000 friends and all these different, and sometimes like if people don't tag me or alert me, I don't see it.
Right.
Especially the algorithms. So, sorry, Amelia, I do love you. I will be at the baby shower, and I will be bringing that baby's first race car t-shirt.
There you go. Yeah, promises for that, for sure. Yeah. So what's happening in 2020 with you? Georgina, where are you going to be racing, and what are your plans?
So, Ultra Street, that's what we're going to focus on for me. We finally got my car figured out. If anybody happened to watch the live feed in Georgia, I think you saw that.
No mercy.
Woo! So, yeah, we went out first round, but we got the car figured out. I mean, I carried the wheels out to, the 300-foot mark, I think it was.
Awesome.
But we got the car working now. So I feel I can be competitive now, so we're going to focus on Ultra Street for me. And then again, we also have my husband's car. So, we're going to have 2 cars out and probably do the no time stuff with his car. So, I'm excited. I want to run at MCA, do the Extreme Street, and then whatever Ultra Street classes I can.
Okay.
All right, maybe the Pro X275.
Pro 275, yeah. With Dave's car, possibly.
Yeah, a lot of small tire drag radial stuff, and just being down in Georgia was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was our first time down there. You hear the stories, right? And I mean, the weather wasn't the best, so that kind of hampered things. I mean, it definitely messed up the schedule, but it is what it is, right?
Right. That's one thing we can't do anything about.
Right. But it was still a phenomenal experience, and I'm glad I went. We're already making plans to go, but not for Lights Out. It'll be no mercy. Just Lights Out just won't work for us.
Yeah.
Where we're located and our rate and everything, but woe is me, right? So, but yeah, I kind of.
So how can people follow you and see where you're going to be racing?
So we have our Facebook page, which is Buckley Motorsports, or myself. I have my own Facebook page, which is Georgina Buckley, so they can go there. We do have a website link, but it directs you right back to Facebook.
Okay, all right.
I'm not very tech savvy.
I know. You got a good friend that is, though.
You know, if you need a web, I know someone that does.
Yeah, I do too. I could recommend somebody.
Yeah, we'll talk.
So,
after.
what's going to happen for Car Chicks in 2020?
So, I'll tell you what, we are almost like our schedule for the summer is pretty much starting to fill up. I have events that we used to only do events from like May until August. Now I'm leaving the second week in January for a month to head south. I'll be down. We plan on hitting up Bradenton, but we'll be at Lights Out 11, Duck X and Boss X Productions, which is the biggest small tire drag radial race in the world, which is fantastic. If you've never been there, it's definitely a bucket list race event.
Absolutely.
And then we'll be at Racing Performance Expo, and then there's a couple other events that are more in the southern swing in the early winter stages that we have, and then it's every weekend. So I think this year I did about 40 events. We did 6 Car Chicks ladies only drag races.
Yeah.
And in between those drag race events, then we will come with the Car Chicks trailer and be like supporting another event, and then also being there promoting our upcoming series. So right now I have 5 ladies only drag races booked for 2020. We have not announced the dates yet. We will. Usually we have our schedule printed out in time for Race and Performance Expo, which takes place the weekend after Valentine's Day in Schaumburg, Illinois. You're probably going to be there. But yeah, so slowly start seeing our schedule starting to get published, but definitely time by February. So
Every weekend I was like, where the heck is she now? And she's like moving, and you sold your camper.
I sold the camper, but I bought another one.
I figured as much, yeah.
Well, we have these weird Illinois tax laws taking effect January 1st, and so financially it was a smart business decision.
Good old Illinois, they need that tax money.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
But otherwise, 2020 is looking awesome, and it's a lot of work. Doing this is a lot of work. Everyone's like, well, it must be so cool you're just at a different racetrack every weekend. Well, I tell you what, I come home, I have 24 hours to turn it around. I have 24 hours to dump and refill an RV, load up my trailer, and still do I do have a life. Like I have a house, I have pets,
a dog.
I have a fiance. So there's other things that I need to take care of.
Yeah, you got to keep ordering to restock your camp, your trailer and stuff.
Right.
And when do you do that? At midnight, so it's a lot of work.
I've gotten a little crazy about really valuing the time. You can't get time back, right?
Right.
So when I'm at home for less than 24 hours, I'm not wasting any time at Walmart. I'm not waiting in lines, and I'm sorry, I'm Amazon Priming toilet paper to my house, and I don't.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean that's
don't have time.
that's just how things are nowadays for
Right.
people, So that's true. Any last thoughts or anything you want to share?
If you're down at PRI, come to the International Women in Motorsports Association's booth
Absolutely.
number 7199, located across from the Pit Stop Cafe where the food station is. I'm speaking tomorrow with the Racing Junk at 8 a.m., so you can check that out on the PRI website. Otherwise, go to carchips.com, carchix.com. We write articles about women. We feature different news, different press releases.
You have a cool calendar?
We do. We have an amazing I know, I should have brought
Yeah, because I wanted one, and where is it? So there you go.
I'll bring it back. But yeah, go on carchix.com. You can check out our calendar. Also, if you visit yearofwoman.com, we are participating in a Women of Motorsports research study. And so we encourage you guys all to check that out. She'll have flyers here out on her table, and we'll be posting on social media probably next week. So
Yeah.
Did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Support those that support you.
That's right. Totally agree with that. So thanks, friends, for being here and taking time out of your PRI to be here with me. And let's make 2020 the best year so far.
Let's do it.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
So, Melinda Russell here at the International Women's Motorsports Association booth. We've been bombarding you today with Facebook Live. We know they're very popular, and I want you to hear from these young women on their words and how they feel about racing and what they do. And so today at noon, our guests are Angel, Taylor, and Kelly, and they're going to tell you a little bit about themselves and what they race, how they got started racing. So we're going to start with you, Angel. Tell me, tell the camera who you are, where you raced, and why you got started in racing.
Well, I'm Angel. My dad was racing for a very long time before I was in college. And when I turned 16, he put me in his 78 bracket racing. So I just did bracket racing and slowly moved my way up to the master car. And now I'm in love with it.
Hi, I'm Taylor Cole. I started in asphalt go-karts when I was 5. I really liked it. I did this out of hockey, and then when I was 13, I got into Mod Light, which was dirt circuit track, and I kind of aged out of that. I wasn't really liking it anymore. I needed something faster, so I got into an IMCA sport mod, and it was my first year in that this year, so we'll see where we go with that.
Hi, I'm Kelly Collins. I race NHRA Pro Cycle Motorcycle, and I started at the bracket level as well. So we raced about 15 years of bracket racing, and now we're going into our 3rd season of NHRA Pro Cycle Motorcycle.
So a wide variety of racing right here, but yet all in common because we're all women who are passionate about racing. Yeah, for sure. So, Angel, what's the thing that you love most about racing?
The community, for sure. Everybody that you meet. One big happy family while you're all doing the same thing you love.
Okay. Taylor.
Yeah, type of racing area. We all come together, we all can talk about it and somehow connect. So it's just really cool. And at the dirt track, everyone, we all get along. If you need something, someone will give their shirt off their back. So that's what I like about it.
I agree. We race 16 races out of a year, so we're March to November. So we race with our racing family. But also, I love like how all the women kind of get together and join forces and do this together. So the friendships too. I've met a lot of friends out of racing.
Right, exactly. Like I feel like Kelly's my friend when I went to Route 66 Speedway this year. I walked over and there she was, and there were some other ladies there that I knew, and it was just like I saw somebody that was my friend, and it was my race family, and that's just how you feel, isn't it? And you follow, like I follow all these women and see their successes and their hard days, and I feel it for them, even when I'm in Kalamazoo and they're wherever they might be, so it's truly a family thing. So, what are the boys, how do the boys in the men treat you, Angel?
Right now at my age, they're just kind of over me, honestly, because I'm the youngest at both of my girls. There's one other, that's 1 year younger than me. So they just kind of, they've always known me. They just kind of take me as one and the same, but at the same time don't push the job. I've just known them forever.
So that's probably better, because I've had some ladies share with me that the boys don't like it when they get beat by a girl.
There's been a few. I can sit in my car and I'm buckled and I'm ready and see somebody walk by and they go, oh, that's a girl. And they just get all off. I'm like, yeah.
Why does it matter?
Yeah, why?
Why does it matter? Exactly. Yeah, so Taylor, what's been your experience? Do the men and boys accept you, or how does that work?
Yeah, when I first started in go-karts, I actually raced with quite a few girls, probably 4 or 5 other girls. And then once I got into the dirt, I raced with all men. I was the only girl. I was the youngest in the class, so they really didn't like me because I'm not sure why. I really like diversity, so it was really cool racing with grown men. I felt pretty tough. I wasn't really intimidated, but I think they were more than I was. And then the class that I'm in now, they're all pretty cool. Like I said, we're all family, so I get along with all of them now. I don't think that the men like getting beat by pretty girls like us. So.
And Kelly?
I feel it's kind of different in NHRA. I think the women are over 150 men. So we're kind of like put your helmet on and everybody's equal. They've already broken through the barrier of male, female, so now it's just competitors and they respect us. So.
I do think that the drag racing is a world ahead in that respect, because there are so many women and there's so many, like they start little, like these little girls, 5 years old, 5-year-old now, they are teeny tiny little girls and they're out there racing with little boys who are maybe not even as big, but they are not intimidated. Those little girls are not. And so really I think that helps a lot that they start at such a young age, whereas when you start and you're 14, 15 years old and you start racing against men who have been racing for 40 years and they're like, well, what does she think she's doing? It makes it hard. My granddaughter talked about that in a little bit, but we're breaking ground. We're still more and more women are racing. So hopefully it gets better, and for the gals that said they've had some issues, hopefully they can show that they're just as good as anybody else. So in 2019, do you want to share anything about what was your success or something that happened or something about the 2019 season that you'd like to share about?
Well, beginning of my season, we have been slowly breaking the throttle, so giving me more each year to go, faster. First race out of the season, first pass out of the season, we went to the Street Outlaw reunion at Fort Kentucky, and it's 11 o'clock at night. I worked all day, freezing. They were like, oh, hey, Super Coach, it's sound time. I was like, okay. We put on my pants, and I go out there and I go 590, which was my fastest pass right there. So I went to bed pretty excited and happy that night. Got to do it again. So that's probably the highlight of my year for sure, going 590.
Oh yeah, sure. Taylor.
For me, it was my first year in a sport mod and in the IMCA division, so I was running for a super exciting. Just a lot of new stuff for me this year.
So my husband and I race together. He's the crew chief, mechanic, truck driver, everything. Last year we ran our first full season. We qualified for 16 events. This year, 2019, we qualified 16 of 16 events. So that's huge in NHRA when you're a new team and you're learning and growing together. So for us to be able to show up on Sunday, race day, and race all 16, we actually did all of our traveling for ourselves here this year. So it's pretty awesome.
And that's a hectic schedule. You know, it really is. You're all over the place. Because I follow you. I just never know when you're going to be showing up. And to be able to go that much better in a year's time is just really outstanding. I was happy to see that you were doing so well.
But we also work full time as well.
I know you do.
So we're juggling full time jobs, and you know we have an awesome sponsor, the Steam Fitter UA Local C02 is our sponsor. So yeah, we're loving it. So we're looking forward to 2020.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So do you want to mention your sponsors?
Right now, I'm just clothing kind of things, but there are some things in the works for me. I'm a student girl, and I'm in school, and I work a full-time job, so I'm working on starting a blog. So I have all these little things coming together, so hopefully we'll expand and explore a lot.
Okay. What part of the country do you race in?
I'm from Tennessee, so I'm like 35 minutes from Nashville. I race at Music City Raceway, which is in Louisville, which is about 20 minutes from Nashville. I did Bowling Green, Kentucky. It is. I'm very southern. I can't make fun of it. I'm also in Huntsville, Alabama, so just local so far.
Okay.
It's hard to travel.
Yeah, that's for sure. Taylor.
This year we got a lot of people on board, and I'm very thankful for it. We have A1 Materials, Rock and Supply Company. They're just out of Phoenix, Arizona. Lucas Oil, P1 Race Gear, Side Dog Garage Doors, Bull Grips, just a lot of good friends and family to support me.
Takes everybody, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Takes your husband doing all those jobs.
Takes the village.
It does. It
A
takes
lot of love and passion.
Yes.
for sure. And it takes your dad and your companies and everything. People, I always say people that come to the race need to just once go to the pits. And start, whenever the pit gate opens, be there and stick with the team and follow them. And watch all the things it takes for you to get that bike or that car on the track to race. And stick with them throughout the night because there's so much that it takes. People don't realize it when they just come by to get sit in the grandstand. They think, oh, you pull up, unload the bike, and away you go. That's not how it works at all. So a lot of sacrifice.
Swing by and say hello. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you do. And especially, I think, the younger kids that are in school or in high school, they have to make a decision. Am I going to race or am I going to go to the movies with my friends? It's a shame, really, but it really can't be either. It can't be both most of the time. It's all good. Most of the women, you can tell who's really committed because it's all good. They're like, I didn't really have any friends in high school because I was racing every day. And so, yeah, so it's definitely a sacrifice, but it's one that pays off, don't you think?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Even without the race, just you can go and totally have an awful day, go out and have come back and it's a win, but it's just
both of us and
not just the winning, it's the winning.
If it was just the winning.
Yeah, you got that right.
I mean, really, because, yeah, it's great to win. We all know that, but there's some So, any last words, Kelly?
No, we did have a couple extra sponsors, but I didn't look. Rock Custom, Creations Auto Body, Robert H. Vance Lines, who's done no horsepower, Leather. Without all the support that
for sure how the fun is. I struggle. I'm one of those where it's like, it's not coming too easy, but every year and every race is getting better.
I have to say something about Angel because I do a lot of Facebook Lives and I do just a lot of different things. Or when I was doing my live podcast, she would be the first one that was on watching, and so she's one of my biggest supporters. Today was the first day we met in person. Finally,
I know, 3 years in the making.
3 years in the making, but she's always right there and sharing and being a huge supporter. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you for bringing, I've never even met y'all.
Well, thank you, ladies, for taking time from your day. We're doing autographs. If you want to stop by the booth, get some autographs. And we're at PRI in Indianapolis. It's Friday the 13th. Normally my lucky day, so I'm saying it's my lucky day. And stop by and say hi to the gals. Thank you. Thank you.
So what time is it? It's time for another interview session on Facebook Live. So I'm having a great time today. We have just had women back to back to back in our booth today. They're coming to do Facebook Lives with us. They brought their hero cards, so they'll autograph those for you. And if you can't get here when they're here, we've got a whole table full of the ones that have been here with us. So stop by and pick up your hero cards. These are amazing women. They're all ages. They come from all over the place. They race every kind of racing you can imagine. But the one thing they have in common is they're passionate about racing. They're trying to be successful in what's typically a man's sport. We're changing that, though, to where it's not considered a man's sport anymore. So the three lovely ladies I have right now are Taylor, Angie, and Lauren, and they're going to tell us a little bit about their story, how they started racing, that kind of thing. So Lauren, let's start with you. Tell us where you're from and how did you get involved in racing?
I'm from Waukesha, Wisconsin, just a little west of Milwaukee. This will be like my first year actually in competition. I've been on the road course for a couple of years, but I grew up with my dad racing my whole life, so it's kind of just in our family.
All right. Angie, how about you?
I am from Las New Mexico, and I've been racing super tracks in southern New Mexico and West Texas since 2005. And just have a passion for track racing and was involved with it with my late husband and our friends, and just enjoy sharing our mutual passions together.
All right. And how about you, Taylor?
I'm Taylor. I'm from Daytona Beach, Florida. I started at Hampton Speedway racing quarterboards. My dad kind of got me into the sport. He did a little work for NASCAR, some pit crew stuff. And
So it's a family sport for you, right? Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I know it was for Angie, and then Lauren, I know your brother does some things as well. So we hear that all the time, don't we? That it's started with dad, or it started with mom, or it's a family deal. And I tell people there's no sport really like motorsports, because you can take your kid to the basketball game and you might even coach it, but it's not the daughter, the mom, they're just spectators. So motorsports is the one sport that everybody can have a job, right? We put everybody to work. Yeah, for sure. So Lauren, tell us a little bit about, I see Midwest Council. Tell us about that.
Midwestern Council is basically a body for road racing in the Midwest. We several different tracks. Normally our schedule starts in April and in end of October. About 8 or 9 races throughout the year. All road courses, we race Road America, Milwaukee Mile, Blackhawk Farms, it's going on for coming up on 62 years, so it's time.
A lot longer than you've been around.
Very long.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Angie, tell us about the truck you have. What do you do on the truck? Do you work on the truck, or are you lucky to have other people that do it for you? Tell us a little bit about that. Yes, it has. And I've actually went to New Mexico and watched Angie race, and I sat in the shade, and it was like, I swear, 120 degrees. And whoo, yeah, I was in the desert. So yeah, I've actually been there and watched her race. So Taylor, what about you? Tell us about your sponsors. Tell us about why you love racing. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I hear that over and over. If there was any one thing that I hear more than anything, it's about the people. It's about the people. And again, no other sport is like that. They're really not. No. No. So tell me this. We're women in a supposedly man's sport. We're changing that, but have you had any issues on or off the track where guys are harassing you, or why do you think you can race with the men? Anything like that? Taylor? Okay. That's a good comment. I like that. I like that. Angie, what about you? You're a little bit older. No, have you dealt with that, or as being, these are young girls where people think they can push them around, whereas when they're a little bit older, maybe not so much. Have you had any issues with anybody? Right. I know you can, for sure. Lauren, any issues like when you travel to the tracks or? Yeah. A lot of that comes from they finally have respected you. Yeah. So maybe when you first go, they're like leery because they think you're just getting in the car and you don't know anything. And then when you start to prove yourself, they're like, okay, well, she's a pretty good racer. I'm not going to give her any hard times. Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. If you're determined enough to do what you love, then you're going to find a way to do it. I knew a young gal that was, and I still am amazed. I think she was a senior in high school. Her dad and her sister raced, and he couldn't go, and they wanted to go, and he said, "Here's the keys. Take the hauler." and away they went. And so from there on, they were never intimidated. They drove that hauler there. They raced that weekend, and they had friends at the track that were more than happy to help. And so, they find a way to do all of that. Yeah. So my last question is, if I came up to you and my little girl wanted to race or get involved in racing, what's some advice that you would give her? Taylor.
I would say start small. Don't jump into anything too powerful. Just because you won't be there. Get to see the experience and put passion.
Good advice. Angie? Right. Good. And Lauren.
I would definitely approve these two ladies. Obviously start small, be yourself, and if you have the passion for it, just do it. I mean, all your dreams are true.
And I guess my thoughts too are, you've got to have some help. You've got to have family that backs you, or something. You can't just think you're going to go to the track by yourself every weekend. It's not going to happen. So you've got to have a village, to help you with your race team as well. So that would be another point. So any last thoughts any of you have that you'd like to share? Oh, I'm thrilled to have you here. So this makes my day to meet all of you. Some of you I have written stories about, but I haven't met you. And some of you I haven't written stories about yet, but I've known Angie for a couple, 3 years. So it's fun to meet you in person, though. So, all right, well, we're going to hang up for now, and we'll be back in about an hour with some other ladies. So we'll talk to you later. Thank you. Hello, everyone. We're still at PRI. And we have two lovely ladies. I've just been blessed today. I've had so many beautiful women that I decided I can't be in the video anymore. I'm just going to be behind the camera because I am wearing out and my feet are killing me. And so I think the ladies are enjoying coming to do this, so they get to sit for an hour. So that works really good. So I have with me Sandy. Her and her husband run Dirt Kings Late Model Series. Got that right? And I have Leah Oakes, and she is a drag racer. And I'm going to let her tell her story, and as well as Sandy. But so first of all, I just want you ladies to tell us a little bit about where you live and what you do in the motorsports arena. So Leah, tell us a little bit about what you do and where you live.
I live in the DFW area in a tiny little town north of there. No one would know if I said it, so I say DFW area. I grew up in a racing family. My stepdad raced, my brothers raced, and that's kind of came natural for me growing up in a family like that. So that's where that all started. I drive a Lexus.
Yep.
And we drag race and we travel all over the place, just looking for a place to race that we fit and that we're competitive. So,
okay, that's good. All right, Sandy, tell us about what you and your husband are up to.
Sure. So we live in Appleton, Wisconsin. We own and operate the Dirt Late Model Series that so far just races in Wisconsin. This is going to be our fourth year in 2020, and we kind of are building each year organically.
Right. So I met you last year, I believe, here at PRI. I actually met Leah right before she was in the grudge match at at Route 66 in Joliet. So, Leah, what was the grudge match and how did that come about?
That was a lot of fun. I just got a phone call from Jeanette, and she said, "Would you be willing to travel to Illinois for a grudge race?" And I said, "Sure." We're always up for racing, so it was a long trip, and I really didn't know what I was committing to at that time. I just said, "Yeah, let's do it." I had no idea how big it was going to be, and then you get there, and it's the NHRA event, and it's huge. So we had a lot of fun, met a lot of friends. Of course, Georgina and I still have a grudge, but we're also friends.
Right.
So I love her.
I interviewed her earlier, and so, yeah, so I wanted to hear your side of the story. Yeah.
She's a good lady, and I really like her. We enjoyed it, and it's a friendly grudge. So
Right.
it's to be continued. I had issues with the final pass, technical difficulties, and so we really didn't get to finish it the way we wanted. And neither one of us want to win on a technicality. So
Right.
to be continued.
She basically said that. She said, I really didn't want to win that way, and I knew if I backed up, I would give the win to her. And she's like, it's a big event, it's NHRA. She says, I really didn't have a choice, but she says, I'd really like to do it over.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, do it
We're
over.
both on board for that. And
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
That's good sportsmanship. You want to win with a heads-up race and earn it. So
Right. And so we're waiting to hear like when and where that's going to happen, right? Because we don't know yet. Yeah, for sure. So Sandy, what led you and your husband to start a series?
Sure. So I grew up in a racing family. My dad raced when I was little, and I helped him in the shop changing engines. Eventually, that involved in doing technical inspection at racetracks around Wisconsin and the Midwest. And then I met my husband when I was for the NASCAR Remix Challenge Series. He worked out of a team that traveled the circuit. That's how we kind of started dating and eventually got married. But we've had an opportunity to purchase the series and rebrand it, and we just really wanted to elevate our drivers and give them a chance to race and make them a community name so people have something to cheer for.
Yeah.
So kind of just growing the community.
Okay. So about how many cars would you say you have like at a typical race?
So through 3 seasons, we average 26 cars.
Wow, that's good. Yeah.
So we had as many as 39, but a full field is better because we don't like sending anyone home.
No, that's true. And so how far away from where you're racing do these cars come from?
Most of them are within about a 3-hour radius from wherever we're racing.
Okay. And
Most of our drivers are in Wisconsin. We have a couple that follow the series from Illinois.
right, because you're not far from that Illinois border.
Exactly. Yep. We go to the western side of Wisconsin. And a lot of those guys from Minnesota and Iowa to race with us.
Okay. All right. That sounds amazing. And you're going to go ahead. You've got another year coming forward. Do you have any new plans or any new places you're going to race this year?
Not that are finalized.
Okay.
That'll be coming soon, but a really similar schedule to what we've had the last several years.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So Leah, where do you go? Where's all the places you go to travel to race?
we go to Georgia for the DuckX promotions event. So Lights Out will be February, and No Mercy is in October. We plan to hit, I think, LS Fest this year in Kentucky. Outlaw Street Car Racing, I also think is in Kentucky. There's a couple events in Kansas that we're going to that May, and then local events as well. So again, we're kind of doing the same thing, waiting for the schedule to come out. So
Right.
firm up our calendar, but definitely those events are ones that we want to make sure we hit in 2020. So we think it's important to travel and not just race in Texas.
Yeah.
We want to meet people all over and,
Right.
and spread our wings and kind of fly out there and see what we can do. And,
Absolutely. And that, traveling, I love to travel. So, that's part of the fun.
yeah, it's so much. Yeah, it's so fun with the crew. I mean, we're
Yeah.
the whole crew, and it's if nothing else, we make great memories and we have lots
Right.
of laughs. And you get exhausted and you get silly, and that's where your best memories come in. So,
It totally is. And you could be sitting at home doing nothing.
right.
And why? Why would you want to do that when you could be doing what you're doing? Yeah, for sure. So how many people travel with you when you go?
Typically, it's my husband and myself, and then we have 2 other guys that travel with us. Josh Mittenmeyer is one of the guys from TJ Empath. And TJ and Beth, which performance, which is my husband, have just kind of joined forces.
Okay.
So Josh is our tuner, and he travels with us. And sometimes his brother Justin goes, but he usually stays home and holds down the fort. And then Todd Montgomery is another guy that travels with us. So we've got, we've got a really good crew.
It sounds like it. And that's a sacrifice for people.
Huge.
To travel and do that. They're giving up family time and everything too, but obviously they love it or they wouldn't be doing it. So do you and your husband work a full-time job?
We do. He builds performance engines for other people as well. So I always come last. We laugh that whenever I'm racing, it's always a crash session before we leave because if clients come first, I have to wait. So it's usually last minute. I'm trying to get my car ready to go. And I'm a realtor, so I sell real estate.
Okay.
So we're busy. We're both busy. Our busy race season is also his busiest time and my busiest time.
Right.
So we travel, we work while we're on the road, and we just make the best of it.
My best friend is a realtor in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and it never failed. We used to travel a lot together doing, we both have a send-out cards business as well. So we traveled a lot together, and it would never fail. We would go on a trip, and she'd get a call. Oh, we want to buy this house. We want to do this. And so luckily, her husband didn't always travel with us, and he would take care of it. But I just told her, well, if things get slow, let's plan a trip, right? And go.
And it'll all explode.
It all breaks loose, right? For sure. Yeah, absolutely. So, Sandy, tell me a little bit about, a little bit more about your late model tour. Like, how, what kind of cars? I mean, late model, I get it, but every track kind of has a different design name for that. So I'm sure you have a set of rules for your series. Do you want to explain a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. So our cars are legal world of outlaws. So they look just like the ones that race on the tour, and they will come race with us if we're in the right spot. And we'll race and we're gonna pick up. So it's very similar. I believe.
Well, that's nice because some of the tracks around where I live, they all have different rules, and you couldn't go 15 miles away and race. Where now they're starting to figure that out, and they're starting to be much better about being, consistent so that you can race here Friday night and here Saturday night. But finally people are getting that it benefits everybody, right?
We're trying to bring everybody together so we all can race.
Yeah, absolutely. So then, do you run for points, and then at the end of the season you probably have a banquet? Yeah.
So we run for points, and we do it past 80%. So it gives our guys a chance if they have, graduation.
Sorry.
Some other family event, they can miss the race and still not get out of those points.
Yeah, that's nice because people do have a life besides racing, don't they? Yeah, I mean, we don't think about it, but yeah, we just think that this is all there is, but that's not true. Not true. So if you had a mom come up to you, Leah, with a little girl that wants to get in the junior dragster, what's your advice?
Dream big. And don't ever listen to the word no. I always say if you think you can do it, you can. You just have to chase that dream, and don't ever let anyone make you think that dream is silly or too big.
Right. Yeah. And I know you have a daughter, so she's not into racing, though, is she really?
She absolutely loves what we're doing. We started a kids club this year, and then kids club, and she loves helping the kids and learning. I mean, she loves it more than we do. If that's even possible.
Well, she's got two people sharing it, so I can see that. So what would you say to a mom if they wanted to, their daughter wanted to start racing?
I completely agree. I mean, come get involved. There's so many ways to get involved, no matter how old you are. Come to the track, get involved. Meet people, make sure you're introduced to the right people, so you can, do as big as you can. Yeah.
Right, and don't let anybody squash your dreams, right? Yeah, there's plenty of people out there that would be encouraging to a young gal, so she just got to find those people, right? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, can I? Because I have a lot of contacts. It's just every time we do an event or whatever, I just meet more and more amazing people. So I do sometimes say I'm a connector of people because I want to hook you up with that person and you can help each other. So that's been the fun part. Anything I haven't asked you about that you'd like to share about your team, yourself, your family? You want to thank anybody? Tell us how can we follow you to find out your schedule? Anything like that, Leah?
I would tell you, I would thank my sponsors, but I'm fortunate. I have a lot of them, so thank you.
Okay, so we'll just do like this, and then you don't have to read it. Okay.
There's a lot of them, so I'm thankful for that. And I am on Facebook, on Instagram, Let's Leah.
Now tell us why it's Lead Sled Leah. What kind of car do you drive? A station wagon. Yeah. So it's called Lead Sled. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. So go ahead, finish.
Yep. So Let's Let Leah on Facebook and Instagram. I'm very active on social media, posting my schedule, and even next year, t-shirt giveaways and things like that all the time. Especially now for the holidays, we're doing a giveaway every month. So get ready to do a big December giveaway, which will be pretty cool. Yeah. So
Okay. Cool. So they should get on and start following you. All right. And Sandy, what about your series? How can
So we're on Facebook, Dirt Kings Tour. We're on Instagram and Twitter. Check us out there. Our website is dirtkingstour.com.
Okay, very good. So is your schedule out yet or not yet? In a couple weeks, her schedule will be out, and Leah's probably going to have a schedule out very soon. So you can follow Dirt Kings Late Model Series. You can follow Leah Drag Racing. Any of the ladies we've had today, if you want to follow them and you can't figure out how, get a hold of me and I'll connect you to them, because the more we get the word out about these women, the better. That's what we're here for. So, well, thanks, ladies, for taking time. I know that I allowed you to rest your feet a little bit. So they're going to be here if you want to stop by and say hi to them. Leah's got some cards that she could sign for you if you want or whatever. And we'll be back tomorrow, I believe. I think is our next ones. I'm not sure. I'm so confused. So anyway, I'm tired. It's day 2. It's been a long day, and we've got one more day to do it. So I'm going to have to rest tonight. But so we'll talk to you tomorrow, and have a good evening. And thanks, ladies.
thank you.
So it's the 3 o'clock hour. Actually, we're a little bit early, so that's even better. It's the 3 o'clock hour for our interviews and our Facebook Lives. And this beautiful young woman here is Julie Natus, and she is an amazing, amazing race car driver. And I'm going to let her tell you her story, how she got started. And she's had a really successful year this year, racing with the Randy Meyer team. And I know they've been privileged to have her on board, and we're honored to have her with us. So, Julie, welcome. And so, Julie, why don't you start by just telling us a little bit about where you're originally from and how you got started in racing.
So I'm originally from Norway. I moved to California 4.5 years ago for school, but also, to try to go racing here with NHRA. So both my dad and grandfather were race car drivers, so I basically grew up at the racetrack. Kind of came natural to me to jump in one of the cars. So when I was 9, I got my first junior dragster, drove that one, competed in that one, and from there I went to Supercom, top dragster. I got my door car license, and I did some go karts and Formula cars too, but at one point I just had to decide which one of them.
Right.
So I decided drag racing because it's been part of my whole life.
Yeah.
Always been a dream to go come over here and race, so yeah.
And so that goal has come true, and you had a very successful year. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the things that you won? And I know that you were in like series for points and that type of thing. So why don't you explain that a little bit and how you did and how that works?
Okay, so this year I did 17 races. It was mostly me and Megan doing the full season, the full series, and then Rachel, she's driving part-time, and then we had Matt Sackman, he won a couple of races, Cameron Caruso, all great drivers. But for me, I ended up number 4 in the World Championship, which is the best I've done before.
Yeah. And
then I won the regional race.
Yeah.
I won my first national event quali this year, which it was tears out. I cried. It was ugly crying. It was a lot of fun. So
Emotional, but in a good way.
in a good way, yes. Finally got that
Good morning, Facebook family. So it is day 3 of the PRI show in Indianapolis, and I have 2 very wonderful, smiling ladies this morning. They actually beat me to the booth this morning. The traffic was a little bit congested, should we say. So we have Danielle and Roxanne. They're going to tell us their story about how they got involved in racing and what they're passionate about right now. Roxanne has an excellent cause that she's going to share with us that hopefully some of you can get involved with. So good morning to Danielle and Roxanne. So Danielle, why don't you start? I'm going to ask you kind of where you're from and how you got involved in racing.
Yeah, so I
So that's a very familiar way of how you get started. So Roxanne, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in racing?
I'm Roxanne. I am from Hammond, Indiana.
Okay.
And I got involved in racing, being an owner of Ruckus Racing. Me and my husband have a 8-second Nova that he bracket races. And we started racing for autism. As a son being high on the autism spectrum, he was our inspiration for the cause because we know there's a lot of autism or special needs children that like to get involved in racing, and we were trying to make a way for them to be able to engage and participate as well.
Awesome. That's a great cause to be racing for sure. So Danielle, what's the thing you like most about being a race car driver?
I just like the competitiveness and the challenge. I think it's a different sport that not a lot of people are involved in, so it's something different and it's just a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. And Roxanne, do you actually drive a race car or are you more behind the scenes helping?
I'm more behind the scenes.
Okay.
Our marketing, branding for Ruckus Racing, and then now I've moved on to running Racing for Autism and scheduling our events, marketing that as well.
Okay, so why don't you elaborate a little bit more on how people can get involved or where they can find you and what exactly are you, what more details, I guess, is what I'm looking for.
Right now we are basically focused on Facebook. You can find us at facebook.com at Human Fight. We go to various events throughout the year. We have about 2 fundraisers a year raising money for various organizations that assist those with autism and special needs. A good way to follow us would be to follow our event schedule. It's going to be updated very shortly on Facebook for the 2020 racing season.
Okay, very good. And so Facebook is the best place to find that, and it's under Racing for Autism on Facebook.
Yes, it is.
Okay, very good. So Danielle, where will you be racing this year?
So I'm at Pretty Kind of Speedway. We're thinking about maybe making the trip to Rockford. A lot of guys who race there, we also race Rockford, and they have brackets that are a lot of fun. So maybe check that out this year.
Okay, very good. So not this last summer, but the summer before, I was actually at Grundy County.
Yes.
I did kind of a road trip over Memorial Day weekend. So I hit Grundy County one night, Sycamore Speedway once, and then I drove over to Iowa and went to 34 it's called 34 Raceway in West Burlington, Iowa. So it was a road trip racing weekend, and it was just me, but I had a lot of fun. And there, you have a lot of women that race at your track, don't you? Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it's really great. The support we have at Grundy. In my class, we have 2 other girls, and then Spring Soccer has 4. We did have a late model driver too. So yeah, there's, and then we have some come and go. There's been like 10 of us, and it's a good crowd.
It is a group. I met a lot of those ladies when I was there, and it is a really good group of ladies. Yeah, absolutely. So, Roxanne, you said you do a couple fundraisers a year. Is that something that somebody that doesn't live close can be involved in? Are they like any online kind of fundraising where people could help?
We do accept donations for the cause. It does assist us in purchasing various headphones and fidgets, as well as other special need items to accompany us to the track.
Okay.
Our fundraising is basically, we do a couple car shows a year, and that's more local as to the area for the service that we're going to be providing funding to.
Okay.
But they can look out and support for buying t-shirts, stickers, seeing us at various events. Last year, for our first year, we were fortunately assisting 35 families.
Wow.
Out of 13 events. So that's a pretty good number for those bringing their families out and, requesting some assistance.
Right. Absolutely. That's awesome. So I'm so happy to see those kinds of things going on in racing. You have to have a passion for it, don't you, Roxanne? And then you find a way to share that with people who maybe you don't even know they're going through that, or they have a niece or nephew or somebody in their family that has that, and maybe racing is just the answer for that person.
And another way to get a hold of us is to our partner, CM Racing Services.
Okay.
They're out of Wisconsin, and Racer Chris is owned by Racer Chris Burden. He's a racer who travels throughout the Midwest at various SFG events.
Okay.
And they also have a lot of information about our costs.
Okay, very good. So you're getting the word out, aren't you? All right, awesome. So Danielle, have you encountered, this was a topic yesterday, so I'm going to ask you too. Have you encountered in your racing career any struggles with the male species? We just got on the topic yesterday because I had a young gal who was having quite some issues. What have you encountered as a race car driver?
Yeah, you don't like to admit there are those issues. There definitely are. I would like to see. There's a lot of drivers who say that we get special treated because we're girls, and because they're not girls, they get angry that we get, but in reality, we're all the same. And
Right.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, it is. And most of the gals yesterday said that they think once you start racing and you get that respect from people, that then you don't really have that anymore. And so I think it's going away slowly, and you do have to earn that respect, don't you? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the more you just prove who you are and you just, really respect yourself.
Right, for sure. So do you have any marketing partners that you'd like to mention?
Yeah, I do. So I'm fortunate that my employer is sponsored me as well, Erie Jet Center, so they're really great and I'm grateful for them. We have Bill Holbert, his race team is supplier.
Okay.
Polaire Construction, and then my dad is just my crew chief and he's everything, so
Yeah.
right. And I have to thank my mom too, she's always there with me.
Usually the parents are part of it, depending on your age. And so, but we always want to get those names out there so that they know you appreciate them. And I know you do. So, yeah. So how can we follow you if we want to see where you're racing or how you're doing?
Yeah, so Facebook is a good place for that. It's Stop Texting and Racing. We post updates there. Instagram is Daniel Soundtrack. Yeah, and if you're in the area, check out Gunner Speedway.
Yeah. It is a great racetrack, and the people there are so welcoming and friendly. So if you want to try out a new place to race, why don't you tell us a little bit about the track? Dirt, asphalt, a little bit about it so people know.
Yeah, so it's an asphalt, 3-mile track. Very welcoming to newcomers who always like to see the races and help them out. Yeah, we're located in
Morris, Illinois. So not that far. It's actually a great place to go. So you should. I encourage anybody that wants to try somewhere new to go there. So any last thoughts from either one of you, Roxanne?
I just want to thank everybody for watching this segment and pass the word along about racing for autism. And we look forward to everybody out there with my race.
Okay, very good. And Danielle?
Since I've been on the PRI, it's been really great. I really think the opportunity to hear sports. Yeah, it's been really great. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Well, we're going to let these ladies sign some autographs. So if you're at PRI and you would like to stop by our booth, 7199, we're right across from the Pit Stop Cafe. You stop by, they're going to have some autograph cards here. We have some from the ladies that were here yesterday, and we'd love to have you stop by and see us. So it's day 3, people. It's going to be busy today, but it's going to be over at 4 o'clock. So you need to get out here and come check out our booth. Thank you, guys. This is our second group of ladies today. It's PRI Day 3, Saturday, December 14th. And I know 2 of these ladies a little better, the motorcycle racers here, Jeanette Thornley and Andy Rawlings, because I am a motorcycle gal and I have my motorcycle license, but you would never catch me doing what these guys do, ever, ever. And then I have Holly Clark with us as well. So just want to welcome them to our booth. We're doing autograph sessions today here. Another one right after this, and then we're going to be done for the day. So stop by and say hi. Sign up for a membership while you're here, because we have some exciting things that we want to do this year, and the memberships are what are going to allow us to move forward and do some big things for women in motorsports. So first we're going to talk to these ladies, and we're going to find out where they're from and what kind of racing they do and how they got started. So Holly, we're going to start with you.
Website. Now, everybody
I won the USAC 25 National Championship. It was a lot of fun. It was a great year for us. And then we were at Indy, and we heard about this Junior Late Model Challenge Camp. And so we applied, and we made the top 12 out of about 400 applicants, which was an honor. And that's what really got me started in these late models. Because we had interviews with me saying, I don't think we'll be doing anything after 40 years.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I'm in late models now. I'm having a great time with it.
And how old are you, Holly? I won't ask you guys, I promise. But she's 13. Okay, awesome. So this is my friend Jeanette. Jeanette, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started racing.
Hey, Melinda. Everyone out there, hello. So I am a little bit older than Holly here, and I unfortunately started a little bit late in life, but I race a nitro methane powered motorcycle. Right now there's only a very few select ladies that choose to participate in this category. And I recently licensed for my Top Fuel Harley license, and will be joining the NHRA Mellow Yellow Series category racing next year. So I got started kind of a change in my life and needed something to hold on to, and just kind of got presented, and I'm a lady of faith that I go where I'm led, and that's where I was led. So I'm very blessed. This will be season 9 next year, and we're really excited to have some great partners with us. Super Solar, as you can see, and in negotiations with some new folks too. So thanks for all you do, Melinda.
Oh, you're welcome. I love helping you ladies, because I'm a motorcycle, you know. My email used to be Biker Mama, so. Andy, tell us about yourself and how you got started.
Good morning, I'm Andy Rawlings. I am clearly older than beautiful little Holly here. Just to give a little background, we're a family-owned team. We race together, and our baby is 16. My daughter's 16. She just turned a couple weeks ago. So she's getting her license, and we're doing some fun things at home. Everybody teases her that she should be on the side of racing, but we'll start with the cars. We'll get her on the street. So I started actually when she was 3. That's how far back my career goes. We got about 13 years going here. It was just a street bike. It was just, hey, let's get street bikes. Let's have our midlife crisis and get on street bikes and get babysitters and let them go do their thing, and we'll go do ours for a little bit. And Saturday afternoon rides. quickly. So a couple months into it, just a little lunch break out in the middle of nowhere in Wyoming, and it was going a little bit too fast. And, I know it was over 120. I passed the sheriff.
Oh dear.
Did not even get the lights, didn't get brake lights. I realized that was my one get out of jail free card. So when I got back to the office, still on lunch break, thinking, gosh, I could have been in jail. And the kids are out of school, and mom's in jail. So I started the Cooper outlet really quick. So, you start researching and looking to see what's around. Wyoming actually has nothing right now.
Yeah.
Their one track finally did close. So I owned an auto repair shop, and one of the guys that dropped his truck off on a Friday night and was drinking beer said, hey, we race our Camaros out at Sturgis. Sturgis, South Dakota, for those that don't know. And I started doing research and realized, wow, like the motorcycle rally has the Harleys. I have a Harley street bike. I'm going to do this. So that's what really started it. Just taking the street bike and bracket racing it, and outgrowing that, and getting faster bikes, and eventually lose your mind and want to go run a pro stock motorcycle. And you don't have to worry about traffic. You don't have to worry about semis T-phoning you. You don't have to worry about red lights.
People on their phones.
And texting. And so really, we got rid of our street bikes altogether. We don't have one currently, and we race full time. I started out in Florida, so we're based out of the Orlando area.
Awesome. Florida's a great place to have a bike because you can ride almost year round, probably.
I would say it's a great place to have a race bike.
Okay.
Street bikes,
not so much. It's rough. Okay. All right. Very good. So Holly, tell us a little bit about like you're a young gal at a track, and we've kind of had this conversation this weekend that was brought up about the guys at the track. Are they encouraging? Were they not so encouraging when you first started, and now that's changed? How did they feel about you being so successful? Issues or not issues?
In Madera, everyone is very encouraging. They really like the kids.
I learned lessons.
Everyone there is very encouraging. Everyone. It doesn't matter if you're minority or not.
Okay.
In the beginning years, all the boys were happy if they were getting beat by a girl, but and the dads weren't happy at all. But
probably the dads were more upset than the kids.
Just about, yeah.
I would say so.
But they came around, and we're good friends with a lot of people at the track. Everyone there is very nice. In Colorado, there's not a lot of late model racing, but in quarter midgets, we have a lot of great friends across the entire nation who just love females being dominant in a male-dominated field, and just everyone there is great.
Okay, good. Now you ladies started racing, and I'm not being cruel about your age, but you started racing when there were not hardly any women racing. Would that be correct?
Actually, I started racing very late in life.
Okay.
Midlife.
Okay.
For most, so I was in my 40s.
Okay.
When I actually started racing.
So have you had any issues with people or with men or guys thinking you don't belong in motorcycle racing?
I know for me, it's a category that historically has not had a lot of women in it, period. Nitromethane is, there's very few ladies that even run in the cars, let alone a motorcycle.
Right.
So, yes, it was tough at first. There were folks that had said, you don't belong in the fuel class of motorcycle racing, and now moving into the new category is another,
breaking the ice again.
Breaking the ice again, another historical event that, again, it's a tough sport. I mean, it's 1,000-pound, beast.
No matter who you are, it is.
Exactly. So, 1,000-pound, 1,000 horsepower motorcycle that, at my height and my build, I'm probably a little more set up for success as a female. Whereas, Andy in her size, I think she could ride my carbureted bike, but you know what I mean. It's a beast to manage.
Right.
So, but yes, I think I've earned the respect.
I think so, yeah.
There's still a few that maybe would prefer not to see me out there, but because I'm a fighter, I'm determined. You know,
Yeah.
And I come to the racetrack to win like everybody else does.
Right. They said that yesterday too, that once they raced a while and got that respect, then things changed. But it seems like the women have to earn that a little more, where the men show up and it's automatic, kind of. Yeah. So Andy, what about you?
So I kind of feel like some of the industry in a whole still kind of has that, gosh, should we say 1962 feel about it, where women are expected to, just be over here. It's part of it. They don't want to be beat by a girl. So they don't really want you to learn.
Yeah.
So when you do earn that respect and they realize you're not going to go away, they don't have a chance.
Right.
So when I did the street bike and the bracket racing in South Dakota, I had a really good support group. That's what really got me from the street bike to the faster bikes to whatever it was I needed to do. But there was still a couple guys that they taught me what racing could really be like. Hey, I'm gonna double bull you. It got as bad as they knew I had my street bike in neutral just sitting there waiting to go, and they'd come up and ram the back of me and try to get me out of my zone so they could beat me. I thought, man, that's all you got.
Right.
That's all you got. Like, okay, just keep focused and we'll make a good pass and we'll see what's out there. So the first year we ran this bracket, we were runner-up. We're runner-up to the guy that's been a champion for 10 years.
Yeah.
So I realized, like, if you just stay focused and do your job, it doesn't matter. For drag racing, I don't know how everybody else feels, but it's just me and my bike. It's just me and the next best pass we can make. And when that comes together, that's how you win rounds. So that's why I try to stay focused, because some people don't want you out there.
No, of course
Some people
not.
are going to encourage you, whether they're female or male, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
You just have to stick with it. We've had our struggles with our chassis and our program, and we're making it work. So
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
what it is sometimes.
Good.
Yeah.
I love the fact that, you said, oh, you had a couple guys in it, but they come around eventually because they have to. I mean, they don't have to, but it's like, what good does it do them to not?
I gotta tell a fun story.
Okay.
The Buffalo Chip out in Sturgis.
Mm-hmm.
They used the opportunity of me racing as a local girl to do a series of articles to reach out to people so that they could get into the female racing mind. And what
Okay.
So I wrote some short stories, so to speak, and it wasn't just like a 6-second pass. It was like what happened in that 6-second pass, and I really got an opportunity to share my story in a different way, because I realized there was a lot of females in that group, marketing group even, that had never been on a bike.
Yeah.
They're in the motorcycle industry and they don't even know what it's like to ride a bike, period. So I wrote the tale of me and my arch nemesis, and that's how I referred to him throughout that. The guy that would pick at me, the guy that would
Yeah.
don't red light, the guy that started picking at my kids even when our kids were racing together.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the very first person when they put it on Facebook to go out. And I thought, oh, let's see what he has to say. And he was appalled that I called him that, but realized how quickly his behavior really had been. And he says, I don't know who this guy is. He seems like a real jerk.
Whoa.
But kudos to you for learning something from it, because he didn't want to admit that he was that guy.
Right.
But he did.
That's cool. That's a cool
And
story.
the respect I was looking for, I guess. I really wasn't looking for it, but
Yeah.
I needed to put it out. So you
Yeah.
never know where they'll go.
Yeah, exactly. So, a question. What do you think about when you're at the starting? Like when the race is starting and you're going around waiting for the green flag. What are you thinking about?
Well, I'm thinking about what I can do anywhere on the track to look for time or faster, and what I'm going to do at the start to get around these guys, and how I'm just going to make my way up these quads. Because I'm new to the late models, I've gotten, my highest placement was a 4th out of 6. And I qualified up, I think my highest placement was 10. But I usually get about 13, maybe 15 racers. But I really am always thinking about what I can do to work my way up towards the front.
Okay.
It's not easy, but it's a real mental toll. You have to really think about what you're doing. You have to be aware of all your surroundings, what you're doing. It's a tough game, but you gotta just stay focused, stay with it, and do whatever you can to improve.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And you have to anticipate what the other people are going to do.
Exactly.
That's the hardest part for that, because you never know for sure, right? Yeah. Really young, she says.
10 to 16, and so some of them all over or something, but everyone really there is really good racers. But sometimes you just make an unanticipated move. It's not easy.
No, it's
that's
not.
The hardest part of it.
It's not
You
easy.
gotta try to outsmart that move.
Yeah.
Gotta just work your way up.
So do you have any race day routines? Do you always eat the same thing, wear the same thing?
Not really. I don't really have any superstitions.
Okay.
I always just try to stay positive, and no matter what happens, I think about how I've improved anyway. Just I gained a few tenths, so that's really what I was looking for.
Okay.
I gained a few spots. It's really all win with my goals and stuff. So.
Awesome. Jeanette, what about you? You're coming up to the starting line. You've got your arch nemesis next to you, and what's your routine during the day to get your mind ready to go, and what are you thinking at right before you take off the starting line?
Well, if my husband has his tune plan and is not running around with a screwdriver and making me a little more anxious, I typically come up to not quite the burnout box, but kind of stand back. In straight line racing, as Andy can attest to, finding your target at the end of the track is really what you're looking for. These motorcycles, are similar to street riding. You go where you look.
Right.
So I really am focusing on what is that point, my target point. I have my routine after 8 years. I still make mistakes, but I really try. I do have that routine of I say multiple prayers before I get on that bomb, because that is what it is a bomb. But before we pull up to the line, and then the routine is about I have to close my relief valve for my fuel, pull the ball out of my carburetor, and then I go over to the side where my husband is in the starter cart. I place that down. I grab my fuel can, which is what I use to start it with. Give him a hug. He says, "I love you." I go back to my side, and we double check plugs, make sure the spark plug wires are on and all. But I'm thankful that if anybody tells you they don't get nervous, I think they've lost respect for what they do, and that isn't necessarily a good thing.
No, I would think that would be dangerous.
Yeah, so I am at a place where I'm confident in my skill set, and I know what I'm doing, but I still get nervous.
Yeah.
So again, I try to release through talking to my higher power and being staying in my focus. And that arch nemesis, they exist, but really in drag racing, you're racing against yourself.
True.
And if you run your race and you have a good tune, you're gonna be consistent in your races. So really, I try not to focus on what they're doing and the games they play and all that stuff. It's like if I do what I know what I'm capable of doing,
right.
I usually come out successful.
Yeah. Andy, what do you got to say?
First of all, I have to say that's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
For you, for us, it's just our thing. And we have one other person, and we know they're not going to be in line. We don't have to worry about their moves.
You guys
So, wow. Talk about overwhelming, first of all. That's incredible to hear from 13-year-olds. That's a lot. Yeah, a lot on your plate. I'm going to take some advice from my fellow racers and say, gosh, that's one thing I'm not going to let anybody get into.
That's my little space, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. I got the things that I do, and that's what I do. One big thing I can tell you though is there's a reason we practice. There's a reason we go to the tracks. There's a reason we go. The repetitiveness, just get a good solid whatever it is you need to do down. That makes it easier if you do it over and over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nothing like that seat time, whether it's practice or whatever, is there? Yeah.
If you respect the practice time as though it's race day, there's no difference.
Right. Exactly. So I'm going to ask each one of you how we can follow you, or the people that are watching, how can they follow you, where you're going to be racing, or about your, you've gone to the races. I know you all post things about your successes. So how can people follow you, Andy?
So we're on social media, Fast Andy Racing, Andy Rawlings. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can also follow Osborne's page. They'll do stuff for us this year. They're going to come on board again. Also, Twitch Brewery. So we're excited about that. You can also watch Fox Sports 1 and watch the NHRA Drag Racing Series. And whenever there's either pro stock bikes or top fuel Harleys, we get to share schedules. So there's lots of ways to find us.
Yeah, there really is. And NHRA is on Fox Sports often. You won't have any trouble finding when it's going to be playing. So, yeah. All right. Jeanette, how do we keep track of you?
So I also am Facebook, Instagram, Jeanette Thornley DCR, which is Dream Chaser Racing. I do have a website. It's Dream Chaser Racing. It's racin.com. For my website, it does have my full schedule on there, but we will be participating in the NHRA Mellow Yellow Series Top Fuel Harley categories. We have 10 events scheduled. It is likely we'll add some oddball racing with AHDRA when they're in close vicinity of our home, which is Statesville, North Carolina, keep our costs down, but we'll be out there. We'll be visible.
Yeah, Jeanette's very visible on Facebook, LinkedIn, so won't have any trouble finding her if you're looking for her. And Holly, how can we keep track of you?
So I am on Instagram, Holly Clark Racing. Facebook, Holly Clark. You can also find my website at www.hollyclarkracing.com. And if you have MAP TV, my races are televised on Thursday nights. So the 5150 relay
Lots of places to find you as well. Actually, my television provider, because I live in the country, my television provider used to provide MAV TV, and my husband was always gone on Thursday night, so guess what I was doing? And we had some issues. We live in the country, so we switched to the other provider, and they don't have MAV TV. And so I actually said to my husband, this has got to go. We got to go back. We got to go back. Yeah, we got to move too. Okay, so that's an interesting, because I bought a 28-foot camper to go to the racetracks, and my husband's not on board quite yet 100%. And I said, the camper's for you. I'm going to get up early and go and do my thing. You can sleep late, you can cook breakfast, you can lay on the couch and watch the races. You don't even have to get out. And he just kind of looked at me like, yeah, nice try. But we're going to be doing some traveling with that camper this summer to some tracks, so that's going to be fun. But yeah, I'd sell my house and just live like what would that be, a nomad or something? I don't know. A gypsy. Yeah, I would totally do that in a heartbeat. So anyway, well, ladies, I got to back up so I can get all of you in the camera. I so much appreciate you taking time with me today to be here in our booth and to share your story with not just me, but the people that are listening. So best of luck to all of you. I'm going to be watching what's going on. And anytime I can do anything to help or spread the word, you know how to get a hold of me. So thanks again for being here, and go enjoy the rest of the show, and we'll all head home and celebrate Christmas. How about that? All right. So good morning, everyone. It's Melinda again at the PRI show, day 3. And guess what? These are my last 3 ladies for my interviews. I've had a great time this weekend talking to gals that I'd never met before, hearing their stories, and just so much fun. It turns out I do know a couple of these gals pretty good, but Hannah's new, so we're going to hear from Hannah. She's a driver, but we're going to get started. We're going to start with Bree. She's on the left. Liz is in the middle. Hannah's to the right. We're going to find out where they live, what they do, and how they got started in the motorsports field. So, Bree, we're going to start with you.
Okay. So my story is I was a college athlete, and NASCAR Driver Diversity Initiative was looking to recruit former college athletes into MIPRU members. So I went out for it, and I moved out to Charlotte to train, and 3 years later, I'm still out here.
Right. And so what do you do? What's your job in racing?
I'm a tire changer, so I change the rear tires in NASCAR when we come in for pit stops.
Okay. So she's a tire changer. How much does one of those tires weigh?
65 pounds.
Yeah, 60 or 65 pounds, and she throws them around like they're nothing. All right, Liz, tell us about yourself.
I'm Liz. I'm a tire specialist in NASCAR. I've been doing it for about 8 years, and my job is anything involving the tires. So I do all the stagger, the pressure, the rollout, the permit sets. I deal with the crew chief, make sure he's happy, make sure the tires go in the right place on the car, make sure my pick tires are in the right location.
That's important, right? We saw that at the last Cup race. Yeah. And where did you originally live, and where do you live now?
I grew up in Lake Tahoe, California, and when I turned 18, I moved 2,200 miles away to move to Charlotte, North Carolina, and that's where I've been for the past 12.5 years.
So she left her family behind at the age of 18, not because she wasn't happy with her family, but because she had a goal and she knew what she wanted to do, and she went for it. And now she's a tire specialist for NASCAR, so pretty cool. Hannah, tell us about yourself.
Alright, so I actually got into racing through my dad. My dad used to race motorcycles, Baja 1000 type of stuff. And when I was born, I wanted to get into racing after 3 years. And my dad decided no motorcycles because they're very, very dangerous. So I got into go-karts, and I did that for about 10 years. And then for the last 4 years, I've been racing spec and now I'm trying to go open-wheel racing.
Very cool. Very cool. And how old are you, Hannah? 19. So still very young. All right. So, Bree, what do you like most about your job?
I think just the atmosphere of being out at the track and like the people and the camaraderie and just still being a part of a team because all my life was sports. So just everything almost.
Yeah, everything goes on at the track.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, because there's so much excitement and adrenaline and everything that's in the air. And I always tell people, if you've never been to, especially like a NASCAR race or a big race, you need to go and experience it. You can't get that from television.
Oh yeah, no, totally different.
Totally different.
Surreal sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. So Liz, I'm going to ask you a little bit about not only your education, I know Bree went through the diversity program, but you moved a long way from home. What kind of education did you have to have, or what did you do to get to be a tire specialist?
I went to North Carolina to do vocational school, so I did universal technical, I did the automotive program, then I took welding and fabrication and chassis classes to learn more about the racing. And then from there, I went to be an intern at a truck team. And I started at the bottom and worked my way up, learned everything I possibly could, and through a lot of luck, I was able to get with some really good teams and learn how to do tires.
Right. And so a lot of what gives you girls opportunities is not just your skill set and that you're a woman, because that helps. I think they're looking for some diversity on their teams. But you've worked hard and you've done your homework. You've done what you needed to do to get to where you are, right? You put in the hours, you put in the schooling, and you didn't just start at the top. You worked your way up to get to where you are. So that's important for young girls, especially, to know that you didn't just show up one day and you became a rear tire changer. Yeah, it takes time. So Hannah, do you go to school? Is racing your full-time thing or what?
No, I do go to school. I go to San Diego State University. I'm a business major, so some of that, a lot of it actually applies to my racing. So it's pretty cool
It is pretty cool. So what's your most favorite thing about being a race car driver?
When I drive, I usually get in like this kind of like zone, I would say. It's like you almost like you blank out, like it's like you don't really have thoughts going into your head, but it's like weirdly relaxing, I guess. And I think I love that. And then also, like I've met so many awesome people through racing, so like the team around me and all those people is really, it's really awesome. To like so many
Yeah, it truly is. So where typically do you race? Are you racing a series? Do you have a home track? Where do you go?
Yeah, so I race with NASA SoCal, so usually it's like Buttonwillow, Willow Springs, Chuckwalla, Auto Club, those tracks. And then NASA has like national races once a year, so like in 2018 we went to Kodak, which was really awesome. So yeah.
Okay, so you do get to travel some.
Yeah, somewhat, yeah.
Yeah, somewhat. Okay. So it's off season. Ha ha, that's a funny term, isn't it? It's the off season for supposedly all of us. This is really when I get my busiest, is the planning for what I'm going to do in 2020. What do you do in the quote unquote off season, Bree?
So I thought I was gonna like relax, but since Homestead, I've been home maybe like 8 days. So I've just still been traveling, but it's been more fun than just work. So just taking advantage of doing things I can't usually do.
Right.
During season.
Because during race season, during the week, what are you doing?
So during the week it's like practice, and then we load up and we're off to the track, and then I come back Monday and it's like my day to rest and get my life together so that I can go do it again.
Right, because you typically, depending where the tracks are from where you live, you probably work Tuesday, maybe travel on Wednesday or Thursday or whatever, and so there's, it sounds like, oh, you just work the weekend. No, not really.
Yeah, there's a lot more to it.
There's a lot more to it, and lots of travel.
Yeah.
Right? So I've seen Liz pretty much every NASCAR track I've gone to the last 2 years. Made friends with her a couple years ago, did a story about her in the magazine. And I witness what she does. So we were in Chicago a little over a year ago, not in 2018. It was, 110, 115, Liz, every day, 4 days, and she's working 10, 12-hour days. And so, it's not easy, is it? So tell us a little bit more about your job and, what it takes to do it, how you were chosen to move up. I know you started low in the trucks, and tell us a little bit about that.
When I was in truck series, I changed tires as well. The team I was with was lower budget. They needed someone that could change tires and work on it. So I was a tire changer for a couple of years. And then when I got into Cup, the team that wanted me to change tires also needed me to do tires. Like, well, we need you to multi-talent on this side. So they taught me how to do tires. And then as I got more experience, I ended up stopping going over the wall and just focusing on tires because it's really hard to do both. On average, we get 12 to 16 sets of tires per weekend, and they weigh 65 pounds apiece. So I have to do all of those tires in between the 2 to 3 practices we have along with qualifying. And all my tires have to be done before race day. So when my pit crew gets there, they can go straight to pit road and they can get glued up and ready for the race.
Yeah.
It's lots of picking up tires, running around. Like we do tires stacks are 5 high. I'm not a very tall person, so it's usually about a foot over my head. And I have to drop them down to my shoulders and run through the garage and not run anyone over, which can sometimes be challenging.
Right. I've witnessed all of that, watching her at the track. And it amazes me what, you think that these are going to be all big burly men doing stuff, right? No, it's not happening. It's all sizes, shapes, and there are a lot of athletes. That's the thing. Like Bree and a lot of the NASCAR teams look for athletes because they have a good work ethic. They're usually in shape. They know how to be part of a team. So all those things that you learn as a kid growing up on a baseball team or a football team, whatever, really does pay off in the long run because you've learned all those like life skills, really, is what's happened. So, Liz, what's your favorite part of the job?
My favorite part is probably the fans and watching our performance. I love getting to meet all the girls at the track. I have a lot of little girls that come to me and introduce themselves and just are fascinated with what I do because they don't see a lot of girls in the
garage. Aside from me, there's 2 other engineers, and there's Bree and one other female tire changer, and that's all that you would see in the cup garage outside of marketing people.
Right.
So when they come meet me, I usually will let them help me. If I'm not busy or not getting ready to practice, I'll let them mark a tire, and I'll kind of show them what I do so they understand that women can do it too.
Yeah, and Liz has been gracious. She's taken us into the hauler and explained all about everything. And I think the thing that has impressed me the most that she's done is she showed us their toolbox. Oh my gosh. If you ever get a chance, go into the cup garage and check out the toolboxes. If they'll let you get that close, which we were with her, so we got to go places other people don't. So that was really cool. The other thing about Liz and what she and Bree are doing here this weekend is Liz owns a company called Torqued. She makes women's mechanics pants, really. Pants for women that work in the garage. You know, you guys go to Walmart or somewhere and you buy pants in the men's department because there are no work pants for women. And Liz got tired of, she's a little skinny thing, and she got tired of having men's pants gapping here and slopping there. And so she has a line of clothing that has ladies work pants, and they're amazing. We've been so busy this weekend. I'm going to kind of show you. They're hanging up right there. So why don't you take this time and share a little bit about your company?
Our clothing line is called Torqued Clothing. You can find us online at torquedclothing.com. It's TORQD
Right there, it's on her shirt.
Find us on Instagram at Torqued, and we're on Twitter and Facebook as well. And our focus is making sure women in automotives and motorsports and trade industries have work clothes that fit what they're doing. Like, I always had a problem finding pants that could hold up and last and actually fit me properly, so I started this about 3 years ago. We've grown to the size where we have shirts. We have a couple men's shirts because the guys got left out, so I had to make a couple shirts for the guys. And our main focus is to make sure all women know that we're out there and that they have access to these pants and can buy these pants and know. And they're all for sale online.
So tell us where that is.
It's www.torquedclothing.com.
Okay.
And you can find it under work pants. It says women's pants up at the top. Click on the shop link. And we ship typically within 2 business days. Sometimes longer. If you see something on there that isn't in your size, feel free to contact us. We always are able to accommodate everything. And if there's a shirt that you see that might not be in the color you want, always let us know. So if you want one in a specific race team color to match your car, we can usually accommodate that as well.
Okay, so it's really, if you gals are out there watching this, really check it out. She's reached a lot of women this weekend because they're here looking for pants that are comfortable, and it's the only place I've seen that does the pants. And so it's a good company to check out. Liz is a great gal. Bree's here helping. So Liz put her to work, and so these 2 gals, and then they've had another lady help too, that have really been sharing with women all weekend. It's been very popular, so I'm proud of you for getting out there and doing that. So Hannah, back to a race car driver. One of the topics this weekend seems to have been the maybe not trouble that you've had on or off the track with guys, but how do they treat you as a girl? Are you just one of the drivers? Has it changed over the times, or how's your experience been with that?
I think a lot of times, like, people kind of assume things about you when they don't really know you, right? They kind of just look at you and will assume, like, maybe not the greatest. I just find that a lot of times you kind of have to prove yourself a lot more than, like, normally a man would have to.
Right.
But usually once you, like, prove yourself and you establish that, then it's, like, normally it's pretty normal after that.
Yeah.
But it's just that initial, like, having to prove yourself.
Right.
It's different.
So you don't really have a lot of issues anymore then, probably.
No, I did a little bit when I was younger in, like, the go-karts, but not really that much anymore.
Yeah.
It's pretty fine now.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And being successful kind of shuts them up a little bit too, I think. That's part of it. Yeah, so I'm going to back up so I can get all of you back in the shot. So, ladies, last thoughts. Something that you would a piece of advice to somebody that wants to get into racing, or just some last final thoughts about whatever's on your mind. Bree?
Yeah, so going back to proving yourself, I think that you just have to remember that you have to work hard, but then being a woman, you might have to work a little harder to prove yourself. But in the end, I think your hard work will always prevail.
and get you where you want to go.
Good advice. Liz.
Always keep your head down and just stay. Like, you can't let anything stop you. If you want to be a crew chief, be a crew chief. If you want to retire, If you can't let being a woman slow you down. You need to prove to guys that you're better than them, and you need to make them afraid that you're going to take their job.
Oh, good advice. Love that one. Hannah.
Yeah, I would say if you want to like get into racing or be like a tire specialist, just like jump in and do it. Like just like give it your full effort. Just do it. And don't let the fact that like it's female dominated sport or industry like make you not want to do it. Just do it.
Yeah, and you think about 10 years ago where this sport was with women and how much it's grown just in that short length of time. I'm excited to see what the next 10 years are going to be. I'm really excited for my first female crew chief. Honestly, I just think that'd be awesome. There's no female spotters that I'm aware of.
Not anymore. There was one, but she's retired.
Right. And so I always said I could be a spotter because I give good directions and I'm pretty calm, and I missed my calling. I think I should have been a spotter. So, well, ladies, thank you so much. If you want to stop by our booth, 7199, we are offering memberships this year to help offset the cost. We're going to be doing a lot of events at racetracks this year in 2020. So get a membership, be part of our community. Stop and see Liz and Bree about Torqued. They have great pants, some really cool t-shirts and that. So stop by and see us. And if you're not at PRI and you want to know more about what we're doing, reach out to me. I can hook you up with Liz. And if you want to follow Hannah Grisham, she's going to be, I'm sure she's on Facebook. And so follow her and see what she's up to, and we'll go from there. So have a great holiday, ladies, and thanks for being here with me.